Okay. And we are live. Back with Roadwarden. Let's do a quick recap. Yesterday, we made it out of Foggy Inn into Gale Rocks. We had to pass by an abandoned tunnel, which we haven't managed to clear out yet because that's going to take us some time, and we are kind of short on time. We have a job on day 10, and I need to get in shape for that because it's going to involve some combat. We managed to get a shield, so it's already a good start, but I gotta repair my armor and rest a little bit. Anyway, we made it to Gale Rocks and we investigated the place pretty well. We went around asking for services and people and places. I think we've made the tour of the village. There might be one or two more hidden places that I haven't checked out yet. We'll see. Next, we had to spend a day. We had to spend 2 days over there because of rain. And now we're on the we're over to Creeks. We haven't managed to, because I had to stop the stream, we haven't managed to really do anything about Creeks. But we're there now. Let's get started. Boop. Today's quote. The phrase soul carrier describes any shell inhabited by a soul, including humans, spirits, and the right themselves. So we just finished, in Creeks, we had 2 people that we were introduced to. At least 2 people who seem to be running the place, brothers, Elon and the other guy, Ephraim, yeah, who's a hunter. Seems to be a small starting community of hunters. You don't have much going for them, I guess, apart from wood and hunting. Okay, they have some stuff. Anyway, we're now talking with Elon about the stuff. They seem to be the leader of the community, a carpenter. Up. Let's see if they have any jobs for us. I've heard you have issues with the Eastern Path. Yeah, we heard that in Howler's Dell. At first he gives you a bright smile, but then he nods with a sigh. What kind of voice did I give him? Was that a strong voice? Aye. So our issue is so clear that folks gossip on them? I'm glad you came to our help, friend. But it doesn't feel right to admit we need help from an outsider. He stands up slowly. Oh, doggy. Hey, doggy. You can take a nap. Probably not for long because I'm talking while he's sleeping. Doesn't feel right to ask for help from an outsider. He stands up slowly, walks away, and leaps over one of the log-made tables and looks for something in the pile of wood. In this part of the land, there's always going to be something to do for a Roadwarden. He straightens up with a piece of charred wood in his hand and gets back to you. As he draws black lines on a workbench, he mentions a few names. Creeks, Foggies, Gale Rocks there. Here's the lake. The map is simplistic and doesn't align with your own understanding of local distances, but you follow his description without issues. The path from here to the south is getting too wild for us, he repines, making another few strokes. The merchants travel through the other route, through Howler's Dell, passing by old pagos and white marshes. Once they reach Foggy, they already have full stomachs and many deals closed, and when they travel back, they visit the same places again. Folks already know that trading here takes a long time. So you want me to give them an option to get to you first and move west without backtracking. Also, hello, Exuat. Hi. Today's gonna be fighting day. On day 10. Yeah, on day 10 we're gonna have to do some fighting, and these guys want me to clear out some wild roads, so it's gonna be some wild stuff. Anyway, you want me to give them an option to get to you first and move west without backtracking. And do so all by myself. How? Well, I'm sure you can find some help. He pats his stomach without noticing that he leaves a few black dots on his leather jacket. There's a few things you could do. Follow the eastern road and see if it's clear. Are there any safe shelters? Any blockades to get rid of? Is there an overgrown path to burn? Let me see if the road from here to the western road is safe, or if the carts can get through the heart of the woods. If you're brave enough. I hope your soul would sage judgment. Seeing your puzzled look, he rests his palm on the table with a shy smile. I know I'm vague, but I bet you already know more about these roads than I do, friend. His eyes return to the map, and after a moment of hesitation, he rubs an uneven line with his thumb. Can you pay me? With monies? That depends on what you're about to do, aye? The tribe has but a few dragons. To confirm his worries, he enters the nearby house, from which he picks up an old wooden case, crude in shape, with an unsightly engraving of a three-headed hydra on its lid. Inside it, you see maybe 24 dragon bones. Let's say you get a dragon for any news about cleared or blocked areas, and more if it takes real effort from you. Okay, I mean... So if we explore the eastern road, we get paid 1 dragon bone, and more if we have to put in some effort. So you want me to act first and pick up my reward after? You're playing with my patience. Are you not paid by the rich folks from Havlavan? His voice once again gets apologetic. I believe what I'm asking for you is your very job. Let's try to motivate you to do it well, Roadwarden. I'm not your master, you'll do as you please. How do you know if I'm honest? Can I just lie to you? Aye. He looks at you in silence, then clenches his stomach. Can't, most likely? But the more news you bring us, the farther away from the village our foragers and hunters will be willing to roam. Foggy's boys as well, I expect. Sooner or later, the truth will surface, and I'll advise my tribe to take a lesson from whatever we're about to find. Where do I start? Go to the shelter set just at the side of the road. There's a ruined campsite west of Foggy's. He makes a small circle on his map. Or you could go south to a cabin our elders built. He makes a large square. It's halfway from here to the river. Take a look around, see what's their condition. If there's any beast around. You can notice a few small creatures, can't you? Yeah, sure. He laughs, but not with his eyes. Forgive me, my friend, but you don't sound like someone with much experience behind him. You're nothing like Asterion. He took pride in his self-reliance. And are you sure you don't want to, like, work with the others? They can't be trusted, especially some of them. He crosses the western side of the map with a long, thin line. Even a paved route would force merchants to add a day of pointless travel to their plans, and that's a big loss in their trade. Having our path clear gives everyone more options and more convenience. I don't like how you handle the payment, but fine. It's just a sigh of relief and squeezes his stomach. You almost made me worried there, friend. He throws away the charred wood, then returns to his stool and looks for his tools. The dust foxes at the shelter of the west are a bit of a problem, but I can lie about that. I took a look at the dolmen in the south. At the very, very south, this one here. It's safe. He keeps sculpting the wood and asks about the size and the entrance of the chapel. I've heard it's small, but not that small. Not enough for a group, maybe for a lone traveler without a mount. He looks at you with a smile. Pick a dragon bolt from the case, will you? I don't want to stop now. You shows the ugly head of a hydra. If he's not looking, he'll know. Yeah, let's go with that one. My character wants money! But we don't want to, you know, burn our goodwill with these guys till they stop paying us. I've encountered a fallen tree in the south. This one, the fallen tree. We described the exact location. I guess it was unavoidable for this to happen at one point or another. Too bad it's so far away from here. He stops his work and turns towards you. So would you like to help us with that, friend? You ask him what he proposes, and he describes what he calls a day of honest work. Just come to me someday in the early hours. I still need to discuss with the tribe, but I ask the stronger folks to travel with you to the tree. But I agree to if it feel like the road can be trusted. Split into blocks, get it on wagons, bring it here. It won't go to waste, and the road will be cleaned. We mentioned that it's going to take an entire day, he agrees. And I'll get 5 dragon bones for it. Just come to me when you're healthy, and only if you already know what's on the route from here to that point. put a lot of trust into your guidance and protection, Leto. I mean, if it's for pay, 1 day for 5 dragons is decent, I guess. You want me to get to know the entire route, make sure it's safe enough for your tribe to follow, and come here in the morning, but only if I can handle the journey. Quite a list, but fine, we'll see. Think about your words, then reaches for his case. You're right, that's a lot. I can't help you much, but at least you deserve 1 bone right away for bringing me the message. Maybe buy some ration for it, or a good rest. Actually, we also need at least 1 day to prepare ourselves. Alright. That's it for now. Let's ask about bandits. He makes an awkward cut with a chisel, and it's not a quiet shit that starts to rub with the plank with his thumb. Bandits, you say? Soldiers of the city have already taken care of them. He pretends that there aren't any bandits. Alright. What about the ruined village? He freezes for a good moment and finally takes a deep breath, puts away his tools and looks you in the eyes. His fingers are moving, slowly. He's trying to warm them up before playing the lute. Don't push me on those dark grounds, Leto. I've been stepping on them for years, but I still struggle. Please. Okay, so he doesn't want to talk about the ruined village. Asterion, the other Roadwarden. He halts his work and looks at you with an exaggerated frown. That's a weird question. You're the first Roadwarden I've seen in, well, this season. Think, did you check the western villages? You get to Howler's Dell simply by staying on the road. His right hand, still holding a tool, is now squeezing his stomach gently. People say that Asterion has been spending a lot of time in your village. You're hiding something. Also, Howler's Dell hates his guts. He adjusts his shoulder cape and clears his throat with a grunt. People lie. Well, there's some truth to that, but Asterion isn't here, and we don't know where he is. He took our coins, but for fair labor. He moved wares to other settlements, patrolled the roads, escorted an old woman to a druid and back. Did you know you can get good prices for iron at Howler's Dell, but even better at White Marshes? That's good to know. There's some more we can... I think we have some iron that we've harvested already. Yeah, iron scraps. Seeing your look, he turns away and rests his elbow on his workbench. His plans are his own problems, and I have no reason to believe he wanted to be found, nor can I help you. The plague. He freezes, puts away his tools, and then looks at you with wide eyes. He keeps putting away his tools. Wait for a bit, will you? Without asking, without waiting for space or the will to host a few dozen refugees. The folks of Gale Rocks used to have a much kinder attitude towards strangers than they do now, and they offered the newcomers to stay at the beach behind the village. Yet there was nothing for them to eat other than what they caught in the salt waters. They soon started to search for a land remote enough to not compete with the locals, and with the help of kind folks from Gale Rocks, White Marshes, Old Pagos, and others, as Ida vaguely states, they received enough woods and tools to turn the scrap of this plateau into a clearing, then a camp, a hamlet, and finally a village. Try to pay attention. The tale is assisted by walking around the village, introducing you to some of the original settlers or their offsprings, and show you some of the treasures displayed on the House of Gatherings. A unicorn's horn, found in the heart of the woods, a blue rock that's shaped and hollow like an egg, and is darker inside, and back, maybe. Let's make sure to verify this, because the stream went down for whatever reason. Probably internet issues. Let's see. Are we back, or are we not back? Oh. Oh. I think we're back. Yay. Okay, so we have some internet issues. I cut off the stream on Twitch. So this is now a YouTube exclusive stream. Huzzah. Anyway, let's get back on the story. You guys basically didn't miss anything. As soon as I noticed that the stream went down, we just stopped. So we're still in the same dialogue bits, which I am thinking you guys all had the time to read. So let's go. Let's go. Where was I? Oh yeah, hollow like an egg and darker inside, an arrow that hit a frag tape in the eye and knocked it down. Behind each of them, there are names, stories, and memories. At the very end, Ila leads you back to his workbench, holding a hand on his conspicuous stomach. To give his throat some rest, he turns the topic around. Yeah, and I said that, as I saw that, I said, I also need to give my throat a rest, so I got some water. Yay. And what are the folks in Hovleven like, friend? Foggy says there are thousands of souls in the capital, and one can go their entire life by still finding new faces in the crowd. We aren't from the city originally. Let's say this one. One can easily find groups to hang out with, people shop together, work, take baths, and pray, and when one has nothing to do in the evening, they just go outside and seek company. It's not easy to build a strong friendship, though. Other than the last part, it sounds familiar to our way of living. Folks stay inside only to sleep or shag, and even that's not a rule. You adjust his shoulder, cloak, and smile. Also, we also form bonds, one big family and all. Okay, do you know anything about this peninsula? Our tribe won't be much of help here, he admits, while judging the harsh surface of a small plank. It was our parents who did all the traveling, and they did so while we were kids and not yet born. Most of them are already gone, and most of us travel no further than Foggies, and only when we have to. What do you think of your brother? He gives you a surprised look. I care for him deeply. He's brave and has a big heart. But both of our paths were rough. I don't think you need to hear about them. Uh-huh. And how's your carpenting going? You have a healthy imagination. He rests his elbow on the workbench and smiles. I have patience, and I'm getting better with tools. And these are some shoddy tools, he says singingly. I start to disagree with him. They've been used for many years, with only the wooden parts being somewhat in shape, since they seem to have been recently replaced. The steel chisels and saws are jagged and dull. The hammers and axes are made of stone. Some of them were brought here by the settlers, and we can't buy any more right now. There's work to be done, but I do have a plan. He seems to explain, and he's all too eager to do so. He enters the nearby house, and that shows you one of his more successful works, each of which has some shortcomings, noticeable even to a layperson. A bowl engraved with a fish was poorly planned, with animals too large to fit into the entire space, and so part of it is blank. A simple relief of two naked people in their embrace looks almost believable, but the legs are in one case too long and the other short, too short. One shares a broken leg, and the remaining trees show that they are a bit too ambitiously shaped, and got dangerously thin. The chest seems fine, but equipment sticks out of it, and the man acknowledges that he wrongly estimated the required size. You want to be an artist? Better, I want to turn pots, cups, weapons, cupboards, everyday stuff into things of beauty. Seeing your look, he pats his stomach. And I'm far from mastering it, but trust me, these are so much better than the ones I did this winter, and I started only 3 years ago. His pride makes him look even larger, especially in the shoulders. There aren't many carpenters in the peninsula. Folks do their things for their own use. But I'll be a specialist. It's the city thing, Foggy told me so. Not just a jointer, but someone who does only a few things but better than the others. The tribe supports me with food and time, and I'll pay them back with dragon bones and prettier houses. When he leads you outside, you start to share some of his excitement, but most of it dwindles away after you sit down at his workbench again. On wobbly stools, surrounded by broken planks and crude tools. Okay, bye. Rose snorts at a group of kids that are trying to pull its tail. You tell them to run to their grandpa. You can check with the hunter. I think he had some work for me too. I called Ava the farmer. My friend the hunter. Raises an eyebrow, then the wolf's head as if to see you better. What do you think of your own brother? He repeats the question, making sure he heard correctly, then scratches his wolf's head. I respect him. He took good care of me as an older brother. He's boring, you know that, and he hides a lot behind those smiles of his. He spends days in the workshop, thinking we may both be as weak as we are now, and smart enough to prosper. There's work to be done. Mimics the carpenter's cadence. It always is. Hey, Defiant Mech Warrior, hi. Oh, heyo, hi-yo. We're just getting some work. For the day's end. Hey, speaking of day's end, I think I might have to spend the night here. That's an issue because I want to get a Gambison repair kit. And I want to spend the night repairing my Gambison for all the fights we have ahead of us. I want to ask about the weakness, but it gives you no time to speak. There's almost no folks from the older generations left, did you notice? Foggy and Old Hava are the only two still capable of doing work, but they aren't getting any younger and are already wounded. You think about the Cavern Keeper's lost arm. We're always lacking in numbers, blades, tools, and skills. The beast took many souls, but Ila won't talk about it. You therefore get them and tie this place to the other villages, making us merchants and rotten carpenters. They adjust his cloak, boiling from frustration, then risk the lives of the younger tribesfolk on training and hunting. We suffered so much that we're becoming even weaker. He calms himself down with silence, so he doesn't really approve of his brother's way of running the village. Are you the only hunter? But of course not. He takes a suspiciously long pause. 7 of us. The tribe is small, but we have enough food without daily trips. If we had too much meat, it spoils, so it's better to let the animals feel safe. You try to change the topic, but the man suddenly looks around and lowers his wolf's head. Well, there's just one issue. 3 of my friends left the village just a few days ago. They haven't returned yet. But they should. Eli's growing worried. Why do you think that's happening? He walks around from time to time looking at you with an open mouth, but not sure how to start. He takes off his heavy cloak and looks you in the eyes. They left for a few days to seek and kill some big game. Each of them a different one, then bring all of them for me to judge. His confident voice falters when he mentions his own part. The winner would have caught me the prey of the greatest size, rarity, utility, and of the greatest threat. He turns away and lowers the wolf's mouth. Okay. Who are they? They are hunters and fighters, but also close friends. If one of them was in trouble, the others would have done all they could to help. They've been a team for years, and we're planning to start a family this winter, you know? Their last big adventure before Dahlia's belly locks her at home. He gives you quite a tale of the deeds and features. Dahlia is the bravest of them, with strong legs. She has simple ways and looks for beasts in the open, by the roads. Her hair is light, always tied in a single braid. Adman is a man who seeks paths and challenges. He believes that seeking knowledge of the peninsula will bring the tribe's ways of surviving hardships. He is smaller than the others, and knows more about dressing the wild game than any of us. His arms are small, so he often spaces traps. His hair is a bit darker than Dahlia's, but short, just like his beard. Vashel is not a man, but they were born with a prick, and wears browns and greens to blend in with the trees. They hunt like a gargoyle, hiding among the leaves, jumping at creatures when it gets close. Because of that, they have often roamed the woods, maybe those that are far away from the village. Well, they're gonna be hard to find if they camouflage themselves. This sounds serious, but if you want me to look for them, I still would deserve a reward. Isn't helping 3 young, strong souls enough? No. Seeing your look, he raises his voice, draws an obsidian edge club, and touches his chest with it. Then I will loyally assist you, friend. For your brave deeds, you may count on me on the day of great challenge. As he lowers his weapon, he winks at you, and the others will be grateful as well. Can you pay me money? What money? He purses his lip, soaring his pride. Oh, what I have done. Our village doesn't really trade. I mean, I'm not gonna try for no money. I'm here for money purposes. Where should I start? He looks at you and sees you're slow. I would have found them myself if I knew, Let the horse take you to other settlements. Ask there. Let's say I were to find them. What do I tell them? Have you no shred of optimism? Maybe they're fine. Just tell them to come home. We've got enough wood and food to start the next feast. And I have a hint that an honorable guest may be welcome there. He smiles at you. For a moment, you think you see the wolf's heads wink. Does your tribe often send lone hunters? This isn't a hunt, but a competition. The winner names their first child, I've heard the arguments. You wouldn't believe how hard it is to pick a name when you have 3 parents. He chuckles to himself. Once the memory fades, it gets serious again. But I can't disagree with you, friend. It's the first time in many years since my tribe's folks have gone on such a reckless trip. And I fear it may remind us why the peninsula isn't a place for adventurers. Okay then. Do the other hunters south work with you? Or hinder you? Nah, they only get closer when they chase after wounded prey. So our woods stay mostly the same. We could have another village twice our size. He glances towards the gate. Halfway from here to Pelt, and there will still be more than enough game for every belly. As long as they would forage and set up farms. You ask him if he has ever considered joining professional hunters, but he takes off the wolf's head and gives it to you, so you can take a better look. It's really warm from the sun. That's the only wolf any of us felt in the last 5 years, you see. Not that we're cowards, he suddenly raises his voice. Our trade just isn't like the big game hunters. I place fish traps, put glue on catch birds, shoot rocks at rats and rabbits. When in the group, we may seek roe deer or orcs. He takes the hat back and looks at it with nostalgia. Those in the inn seek trophies, not meat. They hunt for big beasts, ones that, fight back. Our ways are different, but like that bunch. At least they smile, unlike others in the peninsula. Hunters will always find the common tongue. Once you see enough blood and guts, you have to laugh or go crazy. Okay, do you know about all the other hunters from the other settlements? Aye, with both of them, but I'd rather hunt for frogs than waste my time teaching them both how to not trip over their feet. He rubs his forehead of his wolves, not aware that you're waiting for him to tell you more. What, surprised? He finally asks. Erastos barely knows how to catch a rabbit or a sparrow. He's as much of a trapper as a child with a stick as a soldier, and Cassia's even worse. Big mouth, sure, but whenever we seek blades and Gary walks to help us catch big prey, she suddenly gets a headache. Yeah, so she's unreliable. And Erastos is just bad at his job. Oh, the dog wants out. He's done not napping. Go doggy, go. Goodbye. He's out. Anyway, back to other business. What do you know about the road running through the heart of the forest? I know to avoid it. Blood there. Seeing that you're waiting for a longer tale, you adjust his heavy cloak, spending a good minute on making sure that you understand it's a dangerous place. You'll do better riding around it. The northern roads is the safest, he concludes. After you insist that any sort of guidance may be of use, he scratches the wolf's head. I heard that from a friend that gnolls were moving there. Those very small beast folks, you know? He moves an open hand close to his hips, portraying the height. They threaten you until you give them some meat, and that's all they eat. No fruits, no, I don't know, bones. But it's the fried apes that scare me the most, and there's an entire family of them. Trust me, if you ever hear the terrible screams of a human somewhere in the tree crowns, run as fast as you can. Don't seek it. And certainly don't fight it. Just ride as fast as you can. Okay. And I'm gonna be planning for a hunt in 2 days. Any tips? So that's their scheme. He looks up at the tavern's direction, pausing for a moment, then straightens up. Through seeking advice from a more experienced hunter, he passes his club proudly. Well, there is the usual stuff. Don't fight hungry, have a decent jacket, be sure to have something to block a bird's charge. Oh, and maybe, he points at the sky, then stretches out his arms as if to holding a long stick. A spear! The longer you keep a runner at a distance, the better. I'm not getting a spear, am I? Maybe my stick? This thing, the berry-picking hook? Have you ever fought such a bird? Not yet, but I ran away from a few, and not everyone can say that. It's a burst of jaunty laughter. They are way too common at the edge of our woods, if you ask me. Ever since I met the first one, I jogged. Maybe not every day, but almost. Okay, bye. What about the old Ahava the farmer? We have 3 hours left. You follow the path between the fields, witnessing an one-sided conversation between an old Ahava and a very adult man. She orders him around, pointing at various plants, criticizing the sight of weeds, and noticing the fancy clothes he's wearing. He observes this red-dyed boots and lets out a sigh of relief, as a relief sigh at your arrival. Better change, he mumbles, heading to the main square. Though spares you a wry glance, then turns away, focused on the struggling vegetables. She's the only person in the village who wears clothes made of plant fabric, but they're weathered and covered with decades-old patches. Her hands clasped behind her back are constantly twitching. Don't test my patience. Let's be aggressive. For another minute you consider leaving, but she finally breaks the silence, though without looking at you. Don't test our hospitality. Say, what do you need and fuck off. Place to sleep? We need another hunt, and we have no space for it. If you need a scrap on the floor, go to the tavern. Okay, so I can't sleep here. What do you trade? We sold what we had, we're lacking hunters, and these, she looks at the wrinkled vegetables, will go into a stew, if they're even worth picking. Without noticing it, she grabs her left forearm with her right hand, but doesn't stop twitching. Doggy, why? No. How much money do I have? $2? That's not much. Not much. We always have a fish trap to spare. Make them just in case. A large basket, put it in a creek, and wait a day or two until something swims inside. I'll sell you one for 2 dragon bones. If you'd rather eat something right away, she carries on after a short pause. Our cooks would spare you a roast grouse or a chicken. They'll be cold but fresh. Always have one. You never know when there are maggots in our supply, and kids shouldn't skip a meal. Just good to tell you more, but the patience grows thin. It's the best light roast in the north. We have plenty of spices to it, so it spoils slowly. That's it. This trap, I can only have one at a time. Whatever. Ooh, I met some annoying howlers. Do you have any earplugs? Her shoulder flinch. But would that work? They can break the skull of a deaf shell. Though you shrug, she looks at one of the farmers, who was wearing mouflon furs. Give me something good to eat and I'll give you a few tufts of take wool. Put them in your ears, then wear them under a tight hood. How about some wild fruit and greens? How much do I have? A bit more. She nods and orders the farmer to bring her a knife. Well, we'll need more seeds anyway. After a few minutes, you hold a new pair of earplugs. Why don't you move your traps to Foggies for trading? I'll sweat it to you. She doesn't even wait for your response. Does her yard look like it has space for nests? Okay, whatever. How long to go back to Foggies? 45 minutes. We'll be fine. Go for matchmaking. After a few minutes, you find yourself sitting at a table with Shoshi. Let me write that down. Shoshi. Up. Okay. A dark-haired 20-year-old who some call a woodcutter, others a singer. About these roles, her massive stature must be of help. When she walks, she either carries a large axe on her shoulders or swings it around, towering over the tribesfolk, like a chieftain from the Tales of War. She admits she enjoys a friendly shack from time to time, but can't see a future for her in the creeks. And if these friends lose their lives in the wilderness, I start seeing cats and gargoyles in every shadow. I'd rather have a few calm, safe years at the side of a pretty little woman whom I see in my bed in the evenings. Though you know, friend, not just her. She lets out a sonorous laughter. You mentioned that you don't know if she'll be able to keep her trade after you're moving away, and she chokes her axe with affection. I had missed the woods, but who knows? My trap can't be the only one that cuts trees around here, You should ask her about the worldview, but she gets bored by the topic. We here, she looks around, have no temples and priests, but I don't aim to become one. Tell her about Marina from Gale Rocks. Well, you found quite someone, friend, and I've heard a lot of good things about her home. But this right talk makes me worried. Are you sure she's ready to keep our bonds loose? Seeing her shrug, she sighs. Tell her about me, don't hide my plans, just speak of me kindly. If she wants to have fun with me, I'll make her life warmer, and I love kids. For the first time, her smile becomes humble and kind instead of playful. Let's go back to the inn. We have, what, 2 hours? I'll see if I can put down the fish trap before we leave. 2 hours. Because if it takes half an hour to put down the trap, yeah, we have time. Let's not fight these guys right now, though. Okay, can't set up. Okay, can't set up the trap. Well, let's fight these guys. Just in case I plug my ears. You stick the wool into your ears. The first touch is soft, but as you push more of it inside, the plugs keep falling out and distract you with this newly muffled sound. The howling gets less intrusive, but as long as you have ears, some of it will reach you. Let me say before we try and scare the howlers away, because they might blow my head off. Up. Scare the howlers away. You're yards away from the closest tree. The howlers are climbing, swinging, browsing the leaves, and singing bugs in the meadow. Only a few of them pay attention to you. You curse off with an attack from a distance, but there's no way for you to take down an entire pack. The best you can hope is for scaring them off. Well, crossbow time. You load the smooth weapon and take some time to aim, looking for a beast focused on eating rather than playing. You pull the trigger to the monkey scream, still alive but holding its wooden side. It falls on the ground, miraculously landing on its paws. You get noticed right after that. The creatures howl even louder, pointing at you and jumping between the branches. The wounded howler runs north into the meadow, complaining through its shouts. Its largest companions land on the grass. I move forward. The confused howlers step back, not sure why you're not running away. I shout at them and swing my arms. At first you doubt your shout is going to be heard, but once you add to it your aggressive gestures, the creatures get quieter, allowing your voice to spread wider. Some of the smaller monkeys cuddle to each other and hide their faces. Those on the ground take the first few steps forward, but they keep looking at each other, as if hoping another one of you will get to you first. Rush them! You get dizzy, but try to keep your movements swift and confident. The muffled sounds, while annoying, remain on the edge of your senses. You leap forward, reaching for the shield and the axe. You clash with one of the creatures, and the weapon lands on its shoulder. Your axe cuts fairly deep. The beast jumps away, screaming, then tries to get away from its 3 other limbs. You make a few dangerous swings, keeping the other beasts at a distance. They try to surround you, but you manage to keep up with them. The shield helps you focus on the more vulnerable parts of your defense. You're in control. Next. You look around, but no more creatures try to approach you. You step forward and raise your blade. The wounded monkeys run away, and the others follow soon after. They don't look back. You doubt I'll forget the threat you pose. Now we can loot! Since there are no monkeys, I approach the rawhide. Having no resistance, you check for the snakes by stepping on the rawhide, then pick it up. The wet, torn blanket is now worth as much as bread crusts. Still, it's not rotten. If the owner is around, they may recognize it. And pay me! Okay, well that was good. Once you get to the ground, Elian points at the old rawhide you're carrying by your saddle. Looking for a blanket, friend? You'll find one clean and all in creeks. This one will get smelly soon. The screeching birds are sitting on the logs of the palisade. Some of them observe you, but the group doesn't cease its squabbling. Well, if it's a rawhide, it may be from creeks because they're hunters. A torn and frayed rawhide of simple material made of animal skin, but without the tanning process that would turn it to leather. It's not rotten yet, but it provided a couple of howlers with a lot of joy. Their playtime made it so damaged it's pretty much worthless. I'm thinking it might be a trace of one of the hunters that they were supposed to find. Okay, let's rest here. Enter the tavern. I spoke with Caius. Why do you decide to keep him around? The defected soldier with a hand missing. Ha! Do I the reason? Her amused eyes get thoughtful as she looks at the ceiling. What was her voice? It was raspy. He came. No. He came here as a poor soul in need, taught only how to use a spear and a shield. I know how it feels to have all that you're good at taken away from you. She straightens up and hits her chest with her fist. But so I know that new paths await us, with or without the help of others. Kairos' legs may be buried in despair, but I'm not ready to throw a shovel at him. Wait. Kairos' legs may be buried in despair, but I'm ready to throw him a shovel, once he asks for it. She pauses and looks through the window. Though these fantasies of his won't help him ask anytime soon, they swallow his thoughts. Do I have to ask about any other... Oh, wait, I think we have something to ask about. Ask about the volcano, or the island we saw in the distance. She leans forward, but her voice seems to be incapable of a whisper. You don't plan to swim there, do you? You won't get there without a boat, and with a boat, it's still a dice roll. There's always a drunk or two in rocks and howlers who says they've been there, but it's all rubbish. They've already touched the island's walls. You try to pressure her a bit, but don't learn much. She claims that it's high above the sea on the top of a wall-like steep cliff, and a rope may not be enough for one to get to the top. From time to time, a pillar of smoke flies out of the volcano in the center of the island. The whole place is green, with animals as great as dragons. Could it store treasures, like the folks say? Maybe. But no soul knows where to look for them. For all I know, some child started a tale and played with everyone's desperate dreams. Okay, so there is something... There is an island, but, you know... Let's sell her my stack of linen for $3 profit. Boop. And with this money, I can go to the town of Gale Rocks and buy myself a armor repair kit. How much money do I have? 15? I think it was 9. Can I buy the iron scraps? That would be all of my money. No. Let's sleep here. For $1. Yeah, I gotta recover. You'll have plenty of space and many furs to choose from. The staff will help you take care of your mount's filth. Money. The monstrous shouts wake you up. The night is bright, and from the window of the tavern you take a good look at the yard. A few massive dragonlings are exploring the courtyards, knocking over wooden stools with their tails, putting their noses into buckets and underneath their stairs. You count 5 of them so far, but you can't see the entire area at once. One of them spots your look and moves closer. Still, doesn't try to climb to the door. Maybe it's experienced enough to know that it won't get through. Go back to sleep with my axe in the hand. Spooky. Must not have been a good night's sleep. Listening to the grunts of the annoyed Rose makes you feel uneasy, but at least the furs covering the floor are helping you relax. You don't even notice when it's already morning, and while the smell coming from the lower floor is not inviting, at least it's not you who has to take care of it. Foggy turns towards you and waits for you to speak. Let's eat a meal. I gotta pay for more. And we have the money. Let's buy some meals in advance. Alright. Tomorrow is the hunt. So let's try and repair our armor for tomorrow. By going to Gale Rocks. 2 hours. Damn, that's long. I don't want to explore the old tunnel without the armor either. Let's go. We can take this time to go and meet with the head woman. We can only ask her like 2 or 3 questions per day. Let's see. What do I want to ask about? The tunnel. What can you tell me about the tunnel south of here? I can tell you that the venerable... I can tell you that the venerable digger you know will tell you more about it than you want to hear. She will. Before the war, it used to be crossed every 10-20 days, enough for us to keep it a garrison, but with how little use it now has, I'd be mad to ask any of our youth to throw themselves at the beasts that live there. She glances at an open pouch that's lying just nearby, with a few dragon bones sticking out of it. Her toothless grimace is hard to read. And don't offer me your services to merely get rid of the Awoken. I need long-term solutions, not violence, and sooner or later another threat will take their place. They may just as well stay occupied, at least no vagabonds will take it over. If you say so. Oh, and that's all the questions I can ask today. Okay, whatever. Let's go to the tailor. And I want to buy a Gambesson repair kit. And you know what? No, I'm not gonna save my money. No, I'm gonna save my money, you know. How much time do we have? 11 hours? I'm gonna spend the night repairing my armor. Well, if I spend the money right now, even though I want money, I can go and do some fights. Nah. Let's explore the Eastern Road and try to get paid for that. Before I leave, anything else I can do? Oh, the matchmaking. I return to young people who are looking for a match. I tell Marina what I learned about Soshi from the creeks. She looks around nervously, and her voice is low and hesitant. An open relationship, as if... Seeing her blush, you nod. Our forebears would encourage such a way of living. Does she pray? When you mention that her village in general seems to not put much importance on matters of faith, she seems to lose hope. Is she pretty at all? She says without meeting your eyes. You try to insert some more specific questions, making your interest suddenly grow. If she's really looking for safe, slow days, ask her if she's willing to abandon this weird wish. Tell her... She pauses, then straightens up and speaks with confidence, as if she's reciting an old story. Tell her this, outsider. You can find love and soul and shell with me, and a new path free of empty cravings. You won't ever look back and regret it. Anything else I can ask about? I think that's it. Let's go to Creeks. Then we'll head south. I mean, east, whatever. Soshi. I tried to recall Marina's message. Guess not meant to be. She shakes her head with disappointment. I'm glad you opened this chance for me, friend, but there are parts of me that I'm not going to change. Still, I'll make sure the tribe hears about your help. She suddenly raises her axe and shouts. Hey, you! She doesn't say 101 in particular, but her powerful voice makes everyone stop. Little did me a big favor, Be nice! A few people smile and scoff, and life goes on. If you want to bring Marina my answer, she rests her chin on the top of her blade. Tell her, think it over, for I can make every day of yours sweet and light, if you're ready to breathe fully. Anybody want to tell me anything, now that they trust me more? Ah, about Asterion. Be serious now, Ila. I need to know what happened to Asterion. He springs up, still holding his tools and demonstrating his threatening physique, and raises his voice. I am serious. I don't know. He looks behind him and takes a few steps back. Whatever. But with every few gestures, his breath gets a bit slower. He said there's something of great value hidden in the wilderness, Roadwarden, a treasure, I think. And that treasure would change in the north. He rubs his forearms, but there's still tension in his shell. He needed the help, but we couldn't give, and told us to prepare for Glosha and her bandits to come for supplies. He paid for them up front, but she never came, neither did he. When he sits down again, he doesn't look at you. I never saw him like that before. He was tired and worried, friend. His words lacked confidence. It may very well be that something caught him, but we weren't part of it. Now please let us be. And the hunter... I have this rawhide. Any clues? He gives it only a glance, then throws it away. I think so? To describe where you found it, he reaches towards the wolf's head, but doesn't touch it. Me and the other hunters would go to this place in spring, when there's fewer beasts around to sit on blankets. Eat before we hunt. We'll find a trail there. Guess we'll have to go back in a bit. Let's head east, south, whatever, the Eastern Road. Because we get paid for everything we explore. The air is fresh, just as it was in the tavern. The light touches the road and shrubs blocked only by the single willow, wild and untrimmed. You're by a lake, too large for you to see its other bank, but the local soil isn't too fertile. There are only a few trees on the horizon, while the struggling bushes and grasses fight with layers of rocks. In the south you see uninviting hills cut with tiresome roads. A grey rabbit is cleaning its fur near the brook, but the sound of hooves makes it hop forward towards the nearest shrub. Right after it sinks into the leaves, you hear it squeal, cut off quickly. Wherever its hunter was, it leaves behind only rustling of the thicket and a trail of blood. You wait for a long minute, with a hand on your axe, but the creature doesn't return. Relax a bit and turn towards the stone statue of a young woman. Right closer towards it. Such a monument would be better fit for a temple, or a rich city folk's house. Here, without any cover, it's already losing its shape from the rains and dusts. A chunk of its face and hair have already broken off. It has detailed eyes and human-like proportions, and the clothes are like fabric petrified by a spell. The statue carries the usual traveling equipment, a walking staff, a gambeson, simple pants, not covered by leaves. Any treasure? You dismount and approach the bushes, covering the legs and the pedestal. You see some old wooden bowls as well as rocks. You try to push the leaves away, but their stems are thick and healthy, crowded with insects and spiderwebs. After you remove the ticket, you won't be able to see if there's anything worth stealing. Thankfully there are no thorns, and the touch of a leaf doesn't make your fingers itch. You can do this in half an hour. It's not stealing. It's not stealing! If you say so. Yeah! Guess I have a fish trap here. Sure, fish trap. Do I cut this down? Spend half an hour? Nah, let's travel instead. We can ask Foggy about this place. Statue of a woman. Later. The valley is flanked by the hills. To the west, the grasses and bushes blend into the horizon and turn to another part of the forest. The southern hills are grey and tall, with fortress-like rocks faces and a crown of conifers. The northern ones have countless sand-colored rocks, lumped together with like piles of rubble and clay, bearing hardly any soil or seed. The plants here are struggling. The grass is short and yellowish, sometimes dried out. The bushes have silver leaves, like many plants from sunny areas. Speaking of, did my fish rot yet? Not yet. The plants here are struggling. The grass is short and yellowish, sometimes dried out. The bushes have silver leaves like many plants from sunny areas. The mushrooms can't hide in the shadows, but as you approach one, you see it's growing from the remains of a dead bird, while others are covering old branches and other plants. They won't last much longer. So life here is somewhat dying out. It'd be easy to spot any larger beasts around. You have to squint for a spot to spot the first threatening creature. A runner is in the far east, close to the hills. It completely ignores you, walking around and observing the grass, looking for its next prey. You don't have to worry about it for now. There are boot prints on the road, as well as in the short grass, fresher than any on the other parts of the eastern road. Since many mushrooms were cut away with a knife, and you notice few berries on the shrubs, you conclude it's a foraging spot for the people from the north. Doesn't seem to be much food left. Almost no prints leading further south. Okay, look around for a bit. You let Rose keep itself busy while you walk around, looking for anything edible. It takes a fair bit of time. You don't plan to carry around raw mushrooms and bugs, and the raw vegetables need to be washed before you put them in your bags. Finally, find a few handful of plants, fruits, and nuts. Next time, however, is not going to be so easy, especially since the runner, a bird both taller and wider than you, observes you carefully. At first from a distance, then circling around you. In about half an hour, you hear its piercing screech. As the creature runs at you, shaking her beak larger than your head, you throw everything into a sack and get in the saddle. Let's keep going south. The only tracks inside belong to small critters. The cabin has no windows, but a stubborn beast could easily burst in through the old thatch. The gust of wind doesn't move to the door. A curious ibex observes you from the crack, but flees from your gaze. Check on the cabin. You tether Rose to the supporting beam. Its curious eyes are tracking the crickets that jump among the grass blades. You stretch your limbs, adjust your armor, and reach for the axe. Try and spy first. You sneak towards the door and crouch down. After maybe a minute, a quiet rattle comes from inside, something similar to the sound of cracking knuckles. You peek inside and just barely see a small part of a dusty room. A large spider web is spreading among the knocked-down furniture. Mainly my crossbow. Load it. You remove its protective case and plant the stirrup in the ground. You take a deep breath, pull the string until it locks, then load the quarrel. I walk in and aim at anything that moves. A spider looks at you from the center of the web. Its shell is larger than your head, and the thin legs are longer than your arms. Its countless hair blends in with the walls. They're brown, gray, cream. What do? Let's see. Shoot. You aim. While the spider skitters off, shaking the entire web. You pull the trigger, but fail to avoid the creature's spit. The sticky ooze hits your eyes, covering them like glued cloth. The sack of flesh smacks the floor. It clicks in agony. Your eyelids can't even blink. You drop the crossbow on the floor, then sit on the threshold blindly. I wash off my eyes, but act quickly, harshly pulling the ooze. The saliva clings tightly to your skin. You rip it off, suffering after every pull, but the result comes quick. You slow down when you get to the eyelids. You're grateful for your reflexes, at least you still have eyes. You get to see the light slowly, then the shapes. The thing turns out to be grey and white. You stand up and look around. The room is covered with a thick layer of dust. Getting through the web could be risky. A single thread won't stop you, but a bunch of them could grapple you for good. Well, we do need spiderweb for one of the quests. Melt the web. Drag the spider carcass away. And throw it to the forest. Sure. You put on your thick gloves and grab 4 spider legs at once. The corpse isn't heavy, so you drag it behind you. You reach the bushes at the edge of the road, then lift up the entire creature. The more you shake it, the more distracting the twitches of its legs get. You send it into a tree trunk. It sinks through the thicket, causing a bit of rustle among the dwellers. Let's harvest the spider web for an hour. We can sell it or make a better gambison with it. You bring a twig from the outside and use it as a spool. You don't have much practice, and wearing the gloves makes it necessary for gestures even more awkward. From time to time the silk breaks, but it shouldn't be a problem for a tailor. It's a material for stitching, and it wouldn't be turned into cloth anyway. You notice maybe a dozen defensive spiderlings. They flee towards the exit, with their speed limited by their tiny legs. They're smaller than a finger. They have the right to live. Trample them with my boot. We're supposed to keep this place safe. Will they come back? With a vengeance? Trample them. On their death, they make a squish. Oh wait, search the building. Picked up 2 quarrels, yay! The chest hides a few old water skins and inedible stale rations. Among them, however, you find 2 quarrels for your crossbow. The bones have no obvious owner, but judging by their age and the lack of a skull or human-like hands, you doubt they could be awoken by the fog. The boots, rugged pants, and old sticky tunic and other scraps are cheap and hide no jewelry. The bowls and mugs are empty. Leave the building. I guess that's all there is here. How much to go back to the inn? 1 hour 15 minutes? Okay, so we can still travel a bit south. Uh-oh. Maybe not. The gentle road leads uphill, getting more rocky and bright as the trees grow more sparse. Just in case your eyes run towards the few drier parts of the meadow, and you instantly shout at Rose to make haste. A pack of short-haired wolves, at least 20 members strong, is chasing after you. Their coats are a mixture of yellow, black, and white spots, as if someone threw mud and paint at them. They move towards the road with a human-like speed, and you realize only some of them run straight at you. They're trying to cut through my path. If it wasn't for your palfrey, the beast would have already caught up with you. The trap was perfectly set up, not leaving you any path for escape. Your terrified mouth is disciplined enough to stay on the beaten path, and even though one of the big-eared wolves almost sinks its teeth into your mouth's thighs, you manage to squeeze between the hunters. For the next few minutes, you do your best to get further away, and while you get up is indeed faster, the wolves easily shorten the distance by moving through the sparse forest. You cross a weird river bridge made of stone slab, but the chase doesn't stop yet. There's something I can use here. You think about your sack and bundles, but the pack won't wait for you to sort through your things. The group gets larger the further you go, as even more of its members, previously hidden among the rocks and grasses, now join the hunt, allowing the tired family members to slow down. You may be able to lose them after some time, but scaring off or wounding some of them may force them to give their prey sooner. Shoot them! You reach for the drawn crossbow and bolt, then lock your sights on the closest creature. You wait until you learn its rhythm, then shoot once it's in midair. The arrow flies through the wolf's flesh, causing it to let out a pain cry and plunge to the ground. Its concerned allies howl with fear and anger. While a few of them try to keep up, many more stay behind and surround their pack member, protecting it from potential threats. After a few minutes, you are alone again, this time on the crossroads at the foot of the watchtower. Rose is tired but patient, more happy to survive than it's angry at your wanderlust. At least you can hope the pack will move to a different place during the night. During the night? I'm not staying here for the night. Yeah, I can go back. Okay, I can go back if... Oh, hey! We've connected the roads. 2.5 hours to go back. We have 3 hours and 45 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna explore this location, then we go back to the inn. While the hills are full of life, you don't hear anything coming from the watchtower. Its upper level lacks a wooden platform from which the guards could fire their crossbows, or drop stones onto the opponents below. So this place was not meant to be used in combat, but rather as a shelter from claws and fangs. Such structures can be found in especially untamed parts of the Dragonwoods, used occasionally by travelers or patrolling squads. Since the end of the war, the cities can't find good enough people and dragon bones to keep them in good shape. You see no footsteps, no lights, no fresh trash or latrine. The birds are preening their feathers on top of the tower, while the branches of the nearby tree are swaying in the fierce cold wind. Look for tracks. The tracks lead here to the narrow gate, then west. The hard heels are especially noticeable. Those are the tracks from the tree, the fallen tree. Examine the campfire. You see a shattered bowl, the remains of a meal from many years ago. However, the firewood and the lonely stool are not too old. You don't doubt that the watchtower seems less threatening to wayfarers than the wilderness around it. Anything around the trees? It may be human-made cups. Only the smallest of the spruce are out of order, born of wild seeds. The largest trees are as tall as the tower itself, which surely doesn't help those who are meant to observe the surroundings. There are also stumps, most of which used to belong to young saplings. These trees were likely meant to be sold to carpenters and coopers, but they were left alone many years ago. In the copse, you find a wild fennel and lettuce, traveling in the shadows. There are pears and berries growing among the nearby trees. In a few more days, I can harvest them. Approach the campfire spot. I can cook my fish! Cook him! It takes a good few minutes before the fire gets started, then grows strong enough for you to cook. In the meantime, you prepare the captured creatures. You cut their stomachs, remove the gut with your finger, then pierce through the animals with a pointed stick. Keeping them at a safe distance, you roast them slowly until they both look prepared. They both look and smell prepared. Took us 45 minutes! Alright, we have some time. We have half an hour. There's some wood. Okay, it's time to leave. It's not difficult to find the dead trees in the woods, but you take some time to find some such species that won't force you to use your battle axe. You find tinder beneath the shrubs and some dry branches dropped by the healthy trees. You don't need to warm yourself up for long, so once you're sure you have enough for the basic cooking, you move everything to next to the camp. Let's get out of here before it's too late. Ah, we made it. Let's try and repair our armor. With a bit of time, you can patch your jacket, but you lack proper training. But your lack of proper training will hold you back. But because it's nighttime, we can spend as much time as we want. The tools and needles made of iron will help you brute force your way through the threads of your quilted jacket. For resewing them, you'll repair the holes with clothes and hair. Also replace the torn leather places in the front. The more you practice, the less time it'll take. The current experience, none. Spend 2 hours to increase my armor by 1. Okay, that's all the time I had. I think we can spend another 2 hours tomorrow before we set out for the hunt. Let's go inside the tavern. I can ask about all the places I've seen. I did already ask about the watchtower, but what about the old bridge, the cabin, the grounds, and the statue of a woman? The statue of a woman. Let me put a space there. That old guy from Gale Rocks told me it's the Wanderer, the Wanderer, a spirit who looks after the travelers. He is centuries old, the spirit, not a statue, and needs gifts, just a bit of this and that to pay for her food and shelter. At her feet, one should spare an apple, a dragon bone, even a pretty pebble. Those who skimp on her will one day be in need, and will see a woman with a step on the horizon, too busy with her own struggles to help them. Okay, well I guess I am a wanderer, so I probably should leave something there. I can leave some supplies. Foggy frowns, moving the scars on her forehead. But how do we know what these travelers saw? Beats me. Do my fish rot? A fresh, simple meal. In a perfect world, you'd eat this with a decent pinch of salt and a thick herbal sauce based on yogurt, but it already smells nice. The only part will be avoiding all the fish bones. What if I ask about the bridge? Old bridge. Actually, I think I already asked about that. The cabin? The cabin. My tribesfolk from Creeks built it for hunters years back, a damn mistake of ours. Runners ate 2 of my friends before we finished the construction. If we did a few more years, let the animals get used to us, but now the roads are not much better. The foraging grounds? Blech. The foraging grounds. That's all wrong. Bleh. Okay, I gotta say how it's spelled. I had a memory lapse. Foraging. There we go. There's a furthest spot to the south where the foragers of creeks go. Such an open area offers little to no hideout, so larger beasts avoid it. There isn't much food for humans left. Okay. Can I sell you anything I have? No. Let's sleep for the night. Do I spend a money point? Honestly, I would rather not spend money, but I gotta be strong tomorrow. Let's go, spend some money. You notice it while you undress. One of your recent wounds is going to leave a mark. The bruise on my stomach looks like a night sky. The cut on my leg hurts with every step. The deep cut in my hand will still hurt, especially when I make a fist. I first noticed a bit by touch and then see my version of my blade, a long cut on my cheek. The spider, maybe? Listening to grunts of the annoyed rose makes you feel uneasy. Or at least the furs covering the floor are helping you relax. Yeah, okay, it's the same as before. Let's eat some of the foods we've bought. And before I go, you guys want to go hunting? should repair my armor first before I do this. Adman, Dahlia, and Vasha didn't return from the hunting trips. Did they share any plans with you? Why would they? Growls V. Don't waste our time. We don't bother with theirs. Elan's eyes are a bit warmer. My friend already asked us. They ate there on the way they left days ago. They didn't want to get in each other's way, so they plan to spread. That's all I know. Seeing her look, he spreads his arm in an awkward shrug. They were laughing, eating, all confident and strong. I didn't know they would disappear. Consider his words, and the shorter man starts to snap his fingers. Wait. I heard one thing. Something about... Yeah, they won't go north because of the dark magic in the tunnel. Then it's smart of them. Better than nothing, I'm sure they're fine. Wait, the shorter man is V. With the raspy voice. Caius, your boss told me you have some sort of vision before I asked about that. Let me go ahead and repair my armor. 2 hours. Hey, I have some small experience now. 1 hour 45 minutes. Okay. Let's go for this hunt before it's too late. I have everything I need. Let's hunt while it's still early. Elan clasps his hands. They were going! Idiot, take care of the horse. He nods towards the man with one hand. Elan puts proudly a rope and his bag on his shoulder, while Zvi shoves everything under his black cloak. They gather by the gate and mock their companions as he toddles towards the lake with an empty bucket. I grab whatever may be of use for my bags and leave the yard. What about the statue? The gentle wind is swinging with willow's twigs. 1, maybe 2 more years and the tips will pierce the brook's surface. The statue is left to itself, with its purpose forgotten. A nice thing, isn't it? Elan thunders behind you. It's older than our home. What do you say? Chips and Zvi. Do you have such things by Havlevan on the roads? Carrying your belongings on your own is surprisingly tiring, and you're making noises with every turn. Not really. Statue of humans are a sign of pride. I feel I haven't paid them attention. We do, but they're all old, from before the war. Like this one. He makes a satisfied grin. The war has ruined everything, hasn't it? All the monuments and palaces and temples and slave owners. Poor northerners. After a short chuckle, the larger man goes on. What sort of statue used to be there? They mark places of importance, or spots where important events happen. They don't portray actual people. Elan nods. Stories over people, aye? That's what you get when you base prayers and gods on old tablets. So the southern tribes do the very same. The extent of the statues have nothing to add. Let me use their time. The bush are covering its legs. We can clean the space a bit. Reveal them. But what for? Lead us to someone who cares. We have things to do. Okay. I wonder if I cleaned this up earlier today, if they would have been able to leave an offering for help. Do you know who this is? Nah. Elan won't focus on the fish breaking through the surface of the lake. It's old and the woman is a stranger. I've heard no stories of it. My ma could. Let's move on. Let's not linger, says Elan as he walks down the road. We move forward. The valley seems especially peaceful today. A group of lizards are resting on the rocks, basking with no worries. Elan points east to the large birds at the end of the horizon, which freezes in the middle of a step and turns its orange head in your direction. See? Time to get ready. What's the plan? We'll avoid the beak and the legs and the trample. He pauses, inspecting the loop at the end of his rope. And don't hurt it, if you don't have to. You don't want it to be a bother. Svi gently drops his belongings in the middle of the road, and jumps in place, rhythmically breathing. After he takes off his black cloak, he reveals a set of fancy clothes made of black leather. Clothes of a sneaky adventurer. It charges like a moron. Be nimble, that's all. 1 or 2 ropes on the neck and we're halfway home. Don't let it pass you by. Don't let it pass you by, aye? How about you play the bait? I keep aiming. If things go wrong, I'll put the bird down. I have my shield. I shake my shield. I can handle a charge, don't you worry. I'll buy you some time. Aye, such a wall can't hurt. Elan bursts into laughter. Just be careful, we don't have magic on our hands. And we can't buy another Roadwarden, as his companion, so don't make this a bad trade for us. I wait for them to get to the sides of the valley, then approach the bird. It's taller than Rose, with wide breasts and long, thick, partially feathered legs that could easily trample your chest. Its thighs are thick and powerful. The pointed beak could swallow your entire forearm. Your steps are getting slower. I need to focus down. I can make a joke. I try to speak confidently. How's it going? Can you just maybe wait patiently in place so my companions can nicely tie you up? Once you get to the pen with us, you'll have all the rats and pigeons you can eat. The bird moves forwards even before you finish your sentence, clearly unimpressed by your promises, but the sound of your voice and the illusion of control helps you calm down. Your hands hold the equipment firmly and your legs are already bent, ready to jump. You can handle it. Soon the bird is surrounded by your group, and the pond behind it blocks its path of escape. Once it realizes, it speeds up, charging your direction. Take a good look. It's tall, wide, with a massive head. Its feathers are torn by the wind. They're vividly brown, white, creamy, longer than a headspan, holding the creature like a cape. Its steps are heavy and deliberate. The neck, as long as the limb, keeps moving around, sometimes staring at you, but with a single black pupil surrounded by a deep orange. The light gray beak resembles the leaves of the local plants. The tip is curved, pointy, and in no way smooth. It carries dozens of grooves, maybe a sign of old age, maybe trace of hundreds of hunts. I don't find a weak spot. I don't find its weak spot. It's just a huge duck. It wastes no more. It raises its head and makes a long, piercing screech, which fills up the entire valley. The feathers on its neck are shaking but also waving, moved by the muscle. Then it flaps its wings and lunges forward, still shouting, charging at you, with full force. Try to rope it, keep my distance, dodge. Let it charge at me, then suddenly cover myself with my shield. The giant feet are pounding the ground with every leap, scuffing up clouds of leaves and sand. It lowers its long neck, pointing it at you like one with a spear. You wait until the last moment before you raising the heavy wooden planks. You hold them with both hands, as if you're trying to stop the rolling boulder. It's too late for the creature to stop, yet it attempts to. It crashes into you with its side, knocking you away, but you land on your feet. The beast crawls away in panic, then springs up and runs away, preparing itself for another strike. You think of another maneuver. I keep my distance and dodge when necessary. You do your best to find balance between running to safety, jumping away from the beak, and staying close to hold the bird's attention. Its reflexes are so quick that you can't imagine doing all this while also trying to strike it back. Finally, you're lucky. The creature doesn't find a way to land a hit and observes you with respect. It turns around but stops its pace when it sees your companions. It looks at you again, preparing for the next charge. Try and grapple the bird. You wait to duck at the very last moment, and in the blink of an eye, you show up at the beast's side, pressing your shell to its large chest. Too massive for you to wrap your arms around. You try to avoid the massive legs, but the monster turns out to be as confused as you are, making angry screeches and trying to shake you off. The feathers are scratching your cheeks and getting into your mouth. Once the bird gets rid of you, it runs east, not aware that it only helps your companions. That's when the loops lands on its neck, tightening quickly, and Zvi shouts clearly. The bird remains silent, maybe already out of breath. But it dashes forward, so fast you can't help but step back. It either doesn't understand the danger involved in moving in this situation or doesn't care about it. It runs forward, trying to flee. It makes 5 jumps. You hear Ilan swear. Without looking at him, you know that he let go of the rope. The beast and I control Ian. I got all my strength and stand in its way. I need to stop the bird before it runs away. I grab the loose rope and pull with all my strength. I stand in the way, raising my shield that I have to stop. I have either options for an untrained fighter or options for a trained fighter. You stop the bird, grab the loose rope. I stand this way, and once it gets close, I'll try to catch it. I shoot it with my crossbow. Try it with my axe. The beast that I control, I am. I got all my strength and stand in its way. Oh, they tore up my clothes. You confidently dash forward, knowing that the bird won't escape if it decides to fight you. It needs to ignore you and count for the best. You dodge its strike, then catch the bird's wing with both of your hands. The harsh touch of feathers means nothing. You focus on your firm stance. It takes but a breath. The bird runs forward, but you turn it around, making it plunge to the ground. It tries to get back on its feet, but the rope around its neck is already hindering its movement. After Svi ropes it with yet another loop, the battle is over. I stretch out and dust my hands off. Easy. The bird keeps trying to find a way out, but with little luck. Once it regains a bit of strength, it charges at you, but after just 2 leaps, it gets stopped by the second rope. It regains its voice, screeching at its tormentors, but there's something more hidden behind its previous stress and anger. Maybe pain, maybe contempt. A damn good job, thunders Ilan. He points at your shield. Nice idea taking this. You daze the shit out of it. His companion nods with a grin. Shag me! I missed my throw with the rope, adds Svi loudly, gasping for breath at her long run, though he keeps smiling with pride. I did a second try worked out. This bird is damn ours, and that's all that matters, aye? We should go before somebody else shows up and hunts it. Then he tries to get to us, we'll struggle to keep the bird on the rope. I can argue with that. Ilan stretches his large legs and prepares his bag. Well, much for fighters. I don't wish to pay you for saving us on the road. The other forager chuckles as he steps away, keeping the exhausted bird on the taut rope. Ready if you are. Let's go. That was pretty good. We just got a bit dirty is all. After a few minutes, the runner tries to get away, and even though it's exhausted, you have to move slowly, paying attention to its steps. The foragers seem to know what they're doing, and at no point do you feel threatened by the creature. You keep looking around, but the beast seems to stay away. At one point, you notice a blue wolf among the shorter grasses, but it only observes you in silence, standing on its paws as if it's ready to run away. Your anxious companions fall quiet, but you keep moving forward. In the middle of the journey, you think about Rose. During your stroll, everything seems taller, and the creatures you pass by feel more real, as if they're no longer just shadows for you to leave behind. Be welcome and rest from the sounds of hooves, though the birds' feet scratching the ground is even more annoying. I feel vulnerable without my horse. Let's go with that one. $8. Foggy observes you from the top of the stairs, with a hand resting on her stomach. Well done, dears. She grins at the sight of the runner. Very close to the water, love. She looks at you. Be nice and head to Creek today or tomorrow, will you? Tell Ephraim we're coming, and to give you a bone for the message. She gets to the man with one hand, and as he scowls for the beast, before she enters the door, she smiles at her son. Once you're done, wash your hands and come to dinner. Tell me everything. Tethering the creature to a beam takes you a few minutes. Elon's gasping for air, leaning on his knees, while Zvi keeps his posture straight. His red face betrays him. Well, says the tall man. I have your dragons here. Thank you for your work, friend. The ring-shaped bones are covered in sweat. Okay. Do you guys anything else to tell me before I go? I have to go and tell the news at Creeks, sure. Before I go there, let me go back to the Northern Road and check up for the missing hunter before I go back. Your mount's hooves are pounding the ground loudly. Search the area looking for traces of the owner of the raw hide. After half an hour, you find no corpse, but the trail of the fight tells you enough. A human was dining near the tree. A large cat jumped them and dragged them through the meadow north. For a few minutes, you follow the broken blades of tall grasses, losing track of more than once. You see by the paths used by howlers, which are now following your march anxiously. You reach a gully, but then into a thick forest, growing in a cauldron-shaped basin. The branchy trees are taller than tree houses placed on one another. The beast dragged the human through the thicket, and the scratched skin left blood on the edge of the twigs. You consider walking in, but as you look around, the howlers are getting more numerous and confident, sitting on every tree in sight, threatening you with their shouts. The path's too overgrown for Rose. Okay, so if I want to go there, I gotta leave my horse behind. This should be like a full day. Let me try and clear the ruined shelter, because we can get paid for that. Before I go back to Creeks. Oh. Since your arrival, the largest of the dust foxes jumped on the building's walls, growling. It stretches out its shell, ready to jump at you any moment. You hear the whine of another pack member, followed by the rest of the creatures, the youngest of which seem to be more scared than threatening. I let the foxes see me, then wore them down with shouts. You burst into the hamlet, yelling, running, swinging your axe, hitting the rocks loudly with the side of the blade. The confused duck foxes observe you from afar, jumping from one corner to another, showing their teeth. After half a minute or so, they regain their senses, trying to surround you. You run away at the beast as the beast is chasing you. I'll have to try again tomorrow. Okay, whatever. Let's go to Creeks. Now, how much time do we have? Let's go and leave Rose at Foggy's place. And go into the bushes. I leave Rose at Foggy's and enter the lair of howlers. You're more used to Rose's trot than your own gait. You rush forward as if you're tracking your next meal or delivering a message. After a few minutes, the light dancing on the calm surface of the lake lures your eyes, and the whispering meadow calms down your breath. I gotta hurry. You warm up your shoulders and focus on any movement that could belong to a lurking beast. You reach the trail of blood again, then the gully. The shadows cast by the trees make you aware of you, but not worried. You make sure your belts and cords are properly attached. The hack's handle is solid, the head is firmly attached. Having no horse, you find a way to squeeze through the thicket. Walk down into the valley. Not much light gets through the tree crowns. The cauldron-shaped basin is filled with the howls of monkeys and chirping of insects. As soon as you enter the lair, hundreds of throats burst up with threats and worries. Some of the monkeys run away, others gather in groups, following your movement like a loyal squad. Their gurgling is distracting, but as you look through the darkness, there are countless more black and golden furs letting out the ghastly cries. This distant army is hardly aware of your arrival. Most of them eat, sleep, or groom their companions. You follow the trail of blood, but it only leads farther downhill. Your head starts to spin from the overwhelming noise. Do not linger. I follow the trail, putting up trust in the earplugs. The sound gets gentler on your ears, but no matter how much you try, your thoughts keep returning to the vibration in your head and your stomach, and the blood plane that grows slowly. Your plugged ears may keep you safe, but not for long. The first large monkey touches the ground, but after you raise your axe and show your teeth, it climbs back up again. Though you right away notice a similar movement on the other side. Nothing attacks you just yet. It's obvious to you that you or any human could never single-handedly put an end to such a grand pack of creatures. But if you broke through their strike, maybe the rest will be too afraid to push on. Especially if they remember what happened to them last time. Go. The monkeys observe you with respect, pouting their lips and growling, but keeping their distance for quite a few breaths. Soon the first monsters fall from the high branches, breaking through the foliage of shrubs. They leap at you. You reach for anything that could be of assistance to you. Time for my training to practice. Alright. With a few dancing steps, you show the distance between you and the nearest beast. Confused, it tries to catch you, but you effortlessly elude it. Then put all your strength to turning around and your wide swing lands on the creature's back. It falls to the ground, but you're already far behind it. A few of the monkeys come back up the trees, and as you go further, the pressure weakens. The forest gets darker, but the trail of blood is still easy to follow, which may not be a good sign. Use my shield. You do so once or twice, but you can't move forward without putting so much effort into defense. After a minute or so, you change your strategy, and start to use the shield to run through the groups of enemies. Those don't spread out right away turn out to be too inexperienced in warfare, and once you bash into them, they land under your boot. An exhausting strategy, but once you return to simpler blocks, a few of the groups are already back down. The trail of blood gets weaker, and you estimate that in the middle of the valley is already behind you. Try and aim with my crossbow. There's a lot of creatures to choose from, and since they're unfamiliar with your weapon, hitting one right in the skull is as easy as pulling the trigger. Not so much as a gasp, the creature plunges to the ground. You don't have time to reload, but the monkeys don't know it yet. For some time you walk undisturbed. The trail of blood is scarce, and you think it leads into the brighter parts of the valley. As you approach the rock face, the forest gets sparser. Time to rely on our axe. Oh god, that hurt. Your head starts to ache from all the howls and shouts. Your face is covered in sweat. Holding your axe, you duck, leap, sprint. At one point you manage to reach the final group. You swing left and right, hoping to squeeze through the wall of black and golden furs. Then a strong arm clasps around your waist and throws you. You hit the ground where animal feet trample your shell. You feel the hand clasping onto your leg, but you shout. Give the remainder of your strength. You release your arm, and the blade hits the beast's legs, shoulders, skulls. You can't tell if the blood on your neck is yours. The crest of the howlers falters. You stand up and run for it, and the whining pack doesn't follow. What do you find at the end of the blood trail? It leads you to a lone, treeless, rocky mound at the edge of the valley. The light pale on the short grasses and flowers growing around the pale human bones. The flesh is almost scraped clean, and the few ravens feasting on them lazily move aside, at first observing you, then preening their feathers. The remainings are resting in a pool of dark blood, now serving as a breeding ground for worms. The torn clothes are spread around, most of them made of leather or rawhide. The howls reach you again. The monkeys may be far away, but their presence is overwhelming. You can't prepare a pyre with a constant increasing pain in your head and stomach, but your plugged ears may give you enough time to look around. Search the hunter's possessions. A decorated belt buckle, so now we can identify them, who they were. Nasagi club with an unusual row of teeth carved in its edge is of no value to you. There's no sack or bag in sight, and after you investigate the clothes, you estimate that the only unspoiled, undamaged thing around is the pretty belt buckle, made of yellowish bone, carved into the shape of a jumping boar. You hide in your pocket. The howls are crawling underneath your skin, you're on the edge of losing your sense. I'm gonna try and carry the bones and leave. But I might die from that. We're kind of weak. Carry the bones. Ouch. Since they're detached from each other, you shove them into a sack. The skull, spine, ribs, pelvis. Too many of them to wonder if they're complete. They're warm from the sun. The stench of rotten blood is gut-wrenching, and you gladly step away from it. Let's leave. You hold your head briefly, hoping it will stop spinning, then rush towards the gully. The monkeys' howls are both painful and desperate, which seem proper while you run through the blood and shell of their pack members. Once you reach the meadow, you gasp for breath, and your gut stops twisting your soul. You glance at the belt buckle. It's nothing extraordinary, but may be worth a dragon or two. The large sack of human remains, however, is going to bother you with its rattling. You stay for a bit in the middle of the road, unpack your sacks, then tie together as many bones as you can and hide them again. Let's hope they won't form an undead once they get touched by the fog. Ifrin will surely appreciate your efforts. Well, you better give me some money. Jeez. Okay. Let's go to creeks finally. Oof. Ella and Ephraim are on a bridge, discussing something as they look at the flowing, clear stream. They welcome you politely and ask about your day. I got some good news. I helped the boys from Foggy's catch a large bird. While you try to stay to the point, Ephraim is full of energy. He asks about every detail, from the animal's size to the way it acted in combat. Your brief answers are met with shouts, echoed by the silent bounces of the wolf's head. It was a brave venture. I'm glad they didn't try it without you. Ella gestures for the hunter to drop it. Thank you for giving us time to prepare. Okay, wait, that was the hunter. Oh wait, whatever, wrong voice. Also, pay me. Of course, the carpenter looks around. Pay for the messenger. Just give me a minute. He scurries away, as quickly as his thick legs allow him. We don't carry dragon bones with us, the hunter explains. So how large was the beak? Something like this? He demonstrates with the size of his hands, and for a few minutes showers you with questions. Finally, the dragon bone finds its place in your hand. I'll get to preparation soon, concludes Ela. That was the wrong voice, dang it. Concludes Ela, gasping for air and leaning against the railing, while Ephraim lops away, apparently to prepare the animal pens, as there's no time to waste. The carpenter invites you to follow him into his working station. About the bandits, tell me. He gives you an angry look and clenches his stomach, but then nods. Those are not some strangers, but folks of the north. Our neighbors. One of them is from our very own tribe, and they don't target us, just strangers. You ask him if he's not sure no one from his village has been... You ask him again if he's sure no one from his village has been targeted so far, and after a cold eye, he reaches for a carving knife. Let's get paid for all the efforts we've had. Fallen trees, no. Bring me maybe more news for the fallen tree. I haven't basically the watchtower. The shelter is a problem. There was a big spider at the hunter's cabin, but it's gone now. He observes you with your cheeks and hands, then smile. I'm glad to see you're fine, friend. How's the cabin doing? You answer him a few times and he stretches his arms, then puts his hands on the back of his head. His eyes are absent. It'll be an easy restoration, maybe a few logs to swap, and the roofs won't do much good anymore. It takes your pronounced grunt for him to blink a few times, and raise the lid of the case. One for the news, he puts the first dragon on the top of the tabletop, then another one next to it, and this one for taking care of the beasts. Come on, Ela, that's not a fair price. Could have died there. With a few breaths, he frowns. Spiders aren't that much of a threat, Roadwarden. They even crawl into our house from time to time. Is that because we haven't seen it? We'll see. Because you don't have it around, Roadwarden. Maybe if I killed a corpse? If I brought him the corpse or something? Whatever. Let's go with the hunter. He's in the yard, just next to the gate, practicing the steps and swings while holding a blunt cudgel. He welcomes you with a bow. Good fortunes, friend. I noticed that no soul in your tribe carries a weapon that would contain iron or copper. Not because I'm a priest prattles we just have neither. He taps the shard of obsidian on his club proudly. We do what we can, and with fine results. We hunt nothing larger than deer, and cast rocks from sink shots. Ela hopes to trade for copper with his firewood. Chairs. We'll see. It tells to you that you'll see nothing of the sort. His eyes tell you that you'll see nothing of the sort. There was even a traveler here a year or two ago who was seeking ore in the land. He went to the eastern ravine at the forging grounds, south of here, and he gives you a playful look. Then suddenly clasps his hands and steps forward, making the wolf's jaw bounce up and down. Dead. The stand is still there, but the shell went into the fogs. But the dead hunters, I found this belt buckle. Reaches for the buckle without giving it a closer look. I recognize it anywhere. Dahlia had a gift, so we was ready to give up the hunt if it would mean more craft time for her. So, where was it? Interrupts you tell many times, but having little knowledge to spare, you can't satisfy his curiosity. A sudden realization comes to him. I shag it. How the cat didn't play with his prey. Best not to think about it. One bit of bad news, isn't it? Maybe those will be fine. I also have the bones. What in the troll shit? What? Steps away as you try to handle the sack. Take it and burn it. He points at the ground and you place the sack there. He grabs it only to turn it around. Let's not show it to the children before the burning. Whispers after a few breaths, his confidence returns. Her siblings and uncles will be glad she's not coming back as an awoken. Every human deserves a proper pyre. Alright. Let's head out. Supplies. They're not going to help me out more. It's fine, we'll have to go back. Let's spend some time repairing our armor, and hopefully we can rest. You hear commotion coming from the lake, drawing your eyes to the air bubbles and the water ripples. In a couple of moments, a strip of the lake turns red. There are new wares near the cart, either recently left here or prepared to be taken away. The tavern staff starts the discussion by a basket to welcome your arrival. I can't talk with them yet. That's fine. Into the tavern. Can you give me another job? Is interested? I have a message to Yason, the innkeeper of the Pelt of the North. This place is in the far south, a huge bother for us to get there. A bother worth, let's say, 3 dragons. She sits down on the stool and looks into your eyes. The scars and wrinkles on her thoughtful face could belong to a statue. Tell him... Are we still trading? I'm running out of patience. Remember it well, aye? Bring me the answer, only then you'll get paid. You don't pay me well enough. She waves her hand. Riding around talking with folks, isn't that what you're meant to do anyway? But fine, bring me the answer in 2 days and I'll add a dragon to the pile. 2 days, huh? Better for you to tell me what this is about. She frowns. I don't ask you to negotiate in my name, though I guess it won't hurt to tell you. Jason and I were thinking about working together. He advanced into my place and would get his share of profit in the future, and a shelter for his hunters. He was meant to send me the first batch of dragons, but has fallen silent. I want to know where we stand. Alright then. How long is the trip back there? Let me check. If I just go straight there. 5 hours, huh? Huh. I wonder if I take the western route. Going here is 4 hours. 5:15. I think this is taking the eastern route to get down there. 2.5 hours here. 3 hours to cross the fallen tree. Okay, so tomorrow we can take the eastern road, try and clear out a bit of the places as we fight our way through. Check out the watchtower. And make it to the Pelt of the North, then we can go back. Or we can do like a big round. Pass by a bunch of locations and try and get some news around. And get paid. I like it. We'll probably go south, rest at the Pelt of the North, and then go back here. Sure. Anything else I can do? Questions about the place, buy something, sell some stuff, eat. Let's fix our armor. I spent an hour and 45 minutes to increase my armor by 1. That's all I can do for now. Alright. Let's sleep here. Do I pay? I gotta rest. I gotta pay. I have to. Rest. I'd rather pay with rations. It's more economical. You lose your senses right after you lie down. In the middle of the warm, stuffy night, you are tangled by your dreams, too tired to fully wake up, too accustomed to having a mid-sleep break to just get back to sleep. You're between the realms, surrounded by the visions of so vivid you are tempted to reach out, touch them, and stretch them out to your playground. I try to break free of this state, thinking of all the things I was meant to do tonight. When I wake up, I'm still not sure if I did anything at all. Okay, so we rested a bit. I wonder, did that count as a day? Oh god, that might have counted as 1 day for Foggy's quest. I might have to do this all in 1 day. Oh boy. Eat. Let's go. I can talk with you guys later. Okay. Let's go straight for the pelt, and then we can take our time to go back up. Let's go. The guards welcome you with a nod. As you ride in, the other hunters sitting at the tables and the stairs, gossiping with mugs of beers in their hands. I could talk about the hunters they wanted me to find, but I don't have all the information yet. Let's make some money. Extraing. Yay, $3. I'm looking for some hunters from creeks Vashel, Dahlia, and Advan. Any clues? I don't know those names. She looks at her companions, and while there's someone who claims to have met them, he has nothing to say about them. She then glances at the boar, which is now very interested in the smell of your boots, and giggles. It's a long way from here to Creeks. I mostly spoke with Ephraim. Have you met him? Yeah, I have. She starts to laugh. Well, maybe I wouldn't say nice, but there's charm in his vigor. I met Ilian. He says hi. The son of Foggy. She looks up, straightening her hair as she thinks, I'm sorry, who? Foggy's son. She gives you a beaming smile. Ah, so that's his name. His accent is so thick I kind of misheard it. Forgive me. How is he doing? You gossip about the man and his companion, and a couple of the hunters join in your conversation, asking about the Eastern Road, the tavern, and traffic in general. A good couple of minutes is spent on discussing fashion and creeks. Some of the hunters regret not being used to wearing leather and furs, while others are convinced that linen is more convenient. If you're cold, just put on a cloak, says a woman with a bandage on her neck. For some time, the guards walk away. How much money do I have? 16 bucks? You think I can buy around here? He has some furs to sell. I can buy this fur, but who would I sell it to? Howlers? Maybe not. Maybe White Marshes? Also, do you guys... Are we friends now? I see. You know how it is, Leto? For you, it's 9. I smile. Come on, it'll be fun. You told me you love to talk about beasts. She giggles. Oh, don't you say such a thing. Make me sound like an old lady. I'm still a hunter, not a talker. She winks at you. 7 dragons to learn all about beasts. We can go lower. The goblins is 10 bucks. Not yet. The armorer, whatever. Let's start with the innkeep. What about Pyros? Anything to say? Nothing. Innkeep. First, any leftovers? Hey, food! Next, Foggy has a message for you. The innkeeper listens to Foggy's words patiently, then crosses his arms and leans back lost in thought. Seems like she won't be played so easily. After you mention the answer, he tells you to relax. You'll have it soon. See, I've lost her first share. Asterion was meant to deliver it to her. Never happened. I don't want to waste more, but she doesn't need to know it. He raises a bowl that sits nearby and reveals a few dragon bones. He counts off 5 of them. Tell her this. Asterion lost her coin. I'm not in debt. Let's be partners for now. I'll send you more once I have it, but I don't promise anything. He pushes the coins towards you, observing them like a hawk. They are yours. Just help me keep the chariot going, now and later. It's important to me. Okay, I take the coins, but I'm not gonna lie. Take the coins, and we'll just, you know, we'll just pocket that. We'll just pocket that. I bring sad news from old Pagos. The villagers are stricken by a plague. He sighs and puts his muscled arm on his head, then asks you about the state of the village and the symptoms you know of. At short conversations, he observed the counter. I was planning on to get in touch with those stone cutters. Thank you for bringing the news to me. Let's hope we can make it until let's hope they can make it until spring. There's this gatekeeper, Quintus. He looks at the mug, listening to your tale. What do you expect me to do with him once he's there? Can handle some easy tasks, asking him to be on the lookout for beasts and travelers. He's a brave soul. He's a brave, strong soul. Could assist your hunters. We use our wits and traps, not so much brute force, but I guess you're right. A fierce fighter may be of use. He rubs his arms and reaches for a piece of roasted lizard. Bring him here. I offer him gruel and a corner to sleep, and I'll pay him once he helps us catch some worthy game. Do you guys know about the ruined village? He glances at your weapon, then turns away from you, moving at a few jars on the shelf. But without achieving anything specific. No, I don't think so. I may be in need of Roadwarden services, but not of the nosiness. I'm not dropping it so easily, you start, and the man lets out an unusual chuckle. You noticed movement at the entrance, and the man's gesture suddenly gets more confident. That's so. So why can't you figure out what happened to that place by yourself? Humans use monsters to destroy it. He scoffs. So not only do you not know, I'm going to do your entire job. And cut a branch on which I sit. I have no interest in changing things as they are, thank you very much. You ask him what he wants in return, and he runs his fingers. Nothing fancy, just pay me 30 coins! Heck no. Never. Can you 34 coins? Again? Okay. About Glacia's band, not yet. I can ask about the people I've noted down. Let's see, we have a long list of names to ask about, one at a time. First, what about the Wanderer? The Wanderer. Don't know them, okay. Shoshi. That singing woodcutter? Last she was here, I was hoping she'd agree to work for us, but we have no use for someone who ain't going to fight. Shame with those strong arms of her. Weird that she haven't left Creeks yet. A calm place at Gale Rocks would fit her. Next. We have other names. Old Ava. That's not how you spell that? He freezes. I goes to the door. I had my story to tell, Roadwarden. You may be wiser to not ask for it. Strange. Huh. Good to know. Need to have more trust. Ephraim. Maybe if I delivered the message from a Golia. Dacia, whatever. Ephraim. When the people of Creek send a trading band to us, it's with Ephraim in the front. He's not so much of a fighter as he is a pathfinder, but he's skilled enough beast that I invited him to be our ranger. Too bad he loves his home too much. He says with the tone of someone who describes a completely alien experience. Like his brother Ela, he's a man of action, not layered in schemes. Ela? He like his brother Ephraim. He doesn't fight, and he was here only once, simply to introduce himself to me. Ela may be only 20-something, but he carries the soul twice his age, and that's a good thing. You know, in Creeks, there are either elders or kids. They like those who would put together plans for the years to come. It's a big burden to carry in a village where every adult has a right to vote, but most of them don't care about anything that won't land in their bowl or beds. Who's next? Albus. I don't remember who that is. Albus. The white-skinned man, am I right? After you confirm that's the one, he asks you for a moment to think. He's visiting us with Gale Rock's caravan, knows his trade better than anyone in the city, and can talk about salt and his sugar. He always gets here wearing a heavy cloak, no matter the weather, and works under the roof to avoid direct sunlight, but he's a cheerful fellow. No gloom in his soul. Next. Navica and Domitia. Navica? She's from Gale Rocks, ain't she? One of the sea folks, a boat maker. Heard that she got mauled by Dragonling, almost died. Ever since, she's all about work, and gets shaky if anyone raises their voice around her, or laughs too loudly. What was the other person? I already forgot. So Navica, Domitia, and Phoebe. Domitia? I heard there was an accident that Gale Rocks has the new head cooper now, but I don't know after her at all. Phoebe? Phocios girl, don't know anything about her, she's a kid. Okay, what about Phocios? A seaman from Gale Rock, correct? Who was here with a fish trading crew but didn't do much of talking. He had a wife once, but Abe's got to her on the road. She saved their little girl though. He rubs down the stain on the wooden bowl. Back then he was a kind man, if a quiet one. Everything's changed a lot since. Asterion mentioned he was doing some work for him, but every sage or shaman told him to abandon it, even Tursus of the White Marshes. Tursus? The peat mage taught by the druids of Howlers. He may be a loon, but knows enough about herbs to help with the gentler ills. I haven't spoken with him myself, and he never leaves the bogs, especially since he moved away from the walls of White Marshes. Guess why he lives by himself, but the innkeep scratches his ears. Got into some arguments with the priest, some death in the family, it's personal. How about the priest? Orentius? I shouldn't talk about it. Okay. Who's next in my list? Euno Florus Tatius. Euno is too old to travel, but her people mention her whenever they speak of something they plan to construct. They told me her hand moved every rock and building log that's in the village, and even hollowed some of the caves is. Or one of the caves. Florus and Tatius. We tried to get some arrows from Helvius, but it ain't something his head woman will depart with cheaply. He makes so many of them that every spring the hunters take a few filled quivers and just shoot it at any harpy that can find between the rocks, as there are some crop-digging boars. What about Helvius? That angry kid? I had to meet him, true. He's a mayor, only in name, but loyalty greater than talent. Like all brutes, Helvius understands only strength and hates those who challenge him. Next. Tatius. Correct me if I'm wrong, he's teaching the youth and looking after the armory? You nod, but the innkeep struggles to describe him after that. The rest of the village is a bit of a mystery to me. They don't work much on weapons and armors, rather buy some fine equipment. But it's not like in some villages where fighters are free of exhausted labor. They all train and fight, and only a few of them guards the village at all times. It's a reward for their brave deeds rather than a trade. I think Tatius has not such tale to share, but was recognized as the best fighter in the village, and talented instructor. Okay. What about The gatekeeper and Portia. Quintus the gatekeeper. Okay, nope. Portia. Her job ain't so different from mine, he grunts with a smile. But I've heard her group cooks for the entire village. No wonder she never came to her to trade anything. Next. To Portia, Timo, and Marina. Timo. You met her at Howler's a few years back. She was close to her adulthood. She seems strong. I wonder if she can fight. I doubt it. She's a washwoman now and hoping to marry soon. Pity. Thank you for saving me some time. What about Marina? I already know of the time she and her family were looking for this priest, her partner, I think, was foraging around Gale Rocks. Left his group for a few minutes. Left Marina pregnant and alone, but I ain't so bad at her village. We'll struggle in the city, but here the people care for both. Okay. Who's next? The Marina. Paulus, Rufina, Fulvia. I'm starting to not remember these names. Paulus. Some kid from Gale Rocks. Paulus, who was next? Rufina, Fulvia. I misspelled that. Rufina. I'm not even sure she can be called a tailor, more like a patcher. Sea folks have a different shape. He raises and rubs his arms, pretending to stretch it. So most pieces of clothing don't fit them, unless they make them on their own. But you've seen their days. They work hard and all day long, and they don't dole up often. They buy any piece of clothing they can, and Rufina sews them all. And Fulvina? Did I spell that wrong? I probably did. Fulvia. Fulvia. Give me a moment. He puts a hand on his dark forehead, looking at the ceiling as he thinks. You know, I've heard of her, but only once, and around 10 years ago, when the first group of Gale Perox paid us a visit. They're telling us about the road leading through the heart of the woods, and they mentioned that only her, that's right, only was good enough to get safely through it, even during the nights. The right took away her pride, together with her eyes. Huh. That's the chamber keeper. Severina? Remember to call her the head woman whenever you address her. The villagers are mad that any outsiders gives her another title. Go figure. He shrugs, or comes to her without showing respect. You know, smelly, drunk. He observes you for a moment, and suddenly smiles. Treat her as if she's a city official. Be brief, don't ask for favors, don't threaten. Say what you have to, don't argue for long. Next. Zvi, Caius, Elan. Zvi, the forger, they were here for a few times with a trading band from creeks. Simple but honest ones, just like the rest of their village. Too clumsy to hunt, especially Alien. But they know how to handle themselves. Lost in thoughts, he goes on without looking at you. They drink a fair bit, but you wouldn't believe how much they eat. And not just groats, but meats. They have no druids around, but none will want to live with them. They're like a well without a bottom. And Zvi, he glances at you and shakes his head slightly. Let's just say that a trail of nasty rumors follow him. What about Caius? Caius, that's Tullia's soldiers who lost his hand, right? He asked me for work, but was speaking like a madman. I lent him a bed, and after a long sleep and a good meal, he was still of no worth to us, and I don't run a house for hobos. I told him to go north, but he went east instead. I'm surprised he's not dead, but I have no clue why Foggy would keep him around. Anything else? Foggy? I can ask about Foggy. You mean Foggy, the Tavern's keeper, I assume? You'll find her on the northern road, far from here. Truth be told, I don't know much about her. Taverns and inn owners don't have many opportunities to see each other. He chuckles. But she's a fun one, drinks a lot, makes feasts, and scared of beasts, as most people. Looks like there's some good coin to be made in her scrap of the peninsula. Who'd have guessed? Maybe she just has a nose for coins. Who's next? We're getting there. Eudocia. Eudocia is crazy. She lives in a lonely house all by herself, skinny and dirty like a corpse eater, surrounded by golems. Never smiles, never cries, one of those. She never leaves her home, and if you see it from far away, she looks abandoned. 3 times a year, people travel to her and trade barrels of food for magical items. What about the Predit? Does the master even have a Predit? I thought Ailey was the one that would speak with the monks. Ailey? Only what I heard, an important alchemist, but all of the monks are the same. They think they're smarter than everyone else. In his youth, he used to be a thief of sorts, or maybe a bandit? Or was before the war. You'll find him in the monastery. Prelate, Temple, Red Summit, High Caves. Decima, the young girl. Oops. Beat. Don't know who that is. I've heard about some sorceress in this name. Someone from the west. I'm sure she wasn't here. Okay. Next. We're getting there. We're getting there. Timos, we asked about the warlock. We asked. Quintus, I think we asked about that. Tertia. The last one. Right, Tertia. Have you seen her with a spear? She's natural and still young. It's those eyes of a hunter that she's got. I know a bit about that. It makes a few times. She was meant to enter the monastery as an armed monk, like the temple wardens of the United Church. But something happened, who knows? Still has a stick up her ass, praying and scolding the sinners. But she's a kind guy. Maybe Eli has something against her. Alright then. Can I buy you your fur? 16 bucks. Pretty expensive. That's all. Let's get out of here. It's been 1.5 hours before I go back to Foggy's. I wonder if I can take the time to go around to White Marshes. I know Howlersdale doesn't have a good price for iron or pelts. Pagos won't trade anything. So I have to check in. Gale Rocks doesn't buy anything of that I sell. Either those creeks. So it's either going to be Foggy or White Marshes. Okay, let's go to the Abandoned Watchtower, explore it. Then go to Foggy's and deliver the answer. I think I'll tell her that the innkeep... I can't tell her that the innkeep lied. Because then he'll know that I lied to her. But if I tell her that he's lying, then I'll have more trust with her and she can give me more jobs. How much time before I go to Foggy's? 2.5 hours. I can pick up fruits and vegetables for half an hour. Sure. Rose grazes at the fence while you cross the short meadows, seeking edible leaves of fennels, sorrel, and lettuce that hides in the shadows of spruce trees, forcing you to get on your knees and push the branches away. After some time with needles in your hood and the sleeves, you carry the vegetables to the gate, washing them with your water skin, spreading them on the blanket, allowing them to dry up. As you pick the very few remaining pears and berries, you notice a wide tree hollow. Take a look inside and find a stash of acorns and chestnuts, but also hazelnuts and walnuts. I can take it or leave them. I should leave them. Don't anger nature yet. How's the gate? Setting up a firm wall in a place like this is a bit unusual. It goes on for no more than 40 feet. Then it connects with a natural rock face. Such a structure could be found near the city, acting as a checkpoint at which to stop any travelers to search through their belongings or request a fee. But in the middle of nowhere, deer and other animals used to running here with no hindrance must have been more than annoyed. A risky investment. You touch the gate made of high-quality wood, previously soaked in oil, now mostly wiped off. It was left open, and you don't see any wooden bars that would be used to lock it. You have to move the cold planks buried in the dried-out mud, but with no luck. It will require some worrying digging. The signpost? The planks and letters are damaged by decades of rains, frost, boars, and claws. You scratch off some of the moss. There are 3 planks on the signpost, each one pointing in different directions. Letters don't tell you anything. The plank on the top points both south and north, but there are no pictures that would tell you anything more than that. The one beneath it points east, and there's words within blue paint. The arrow here looks like a magic wand. The bottom plank has a picture of a tall tower surrounded by little houses and points west. The wood is covered in red paint, suggesting danger. What about the entrance? 4.5 hours. 2.5 hours to go back. You take a look at Rose. If necessary, it could bow its head and walk inside. This place should be a decent shelter for both of you. The planks are strong, heavy, well protected from rain and wind, and when you knock they seem to be thick. While the door shakes if you push, it won't open. Defensive structures usually have a locking bar on the inner side, but you also see a large keyhole. You walk around the tower, making sure there are no open windows or other entrances. It doesn't look like you can get in without destroying the door, and doing so is going to make potential entryways for wild creatures. Look in the keyhole. You kneel down and take a peek. There's nothing in the hole, but the room is dark, with tiny bits of light passing through the crevices of the windows. You see the shapes of olden furniture, like tables, casks, and ladder, but the only movement you notice belongs to the dust dancing in the sunbeams. Don't break through. If I break through, it's gonna ruin the door and I won't be able to use this place to rest. Do I have time to go to Eudocia's place? 2.5 hours? Sure. The first part of the trail is narrow and overgrown. The steep crag on the south divides the lush forest in half. You better recognize any shapes in the entanglement of greys, browns, and greens. The northern landscape, while similarly impenetrable, is the exact opposite. The meadow turns to barren hills and mountains barely covered by grass and bushes. Maybe the riding ibexes of the clanspeople for the growing mountains will get through such a barrier. There are no clans here. Point at this icon in the display to show the entire area. I see. The road leads downhill to the edge of the lake. The clearing around the dwelling is quiet, with no crickets, flies, or even toads. The grass is not even knee-high. There are no signs of a war for boats. The wall that wasn't coated and has already been bitten by the wall wasn't coated and has already been bitten by winds and rains. Look for an entrance. We've moved around. Right next to the gate, a gargoyle, or a stone look-alike, kneels on the slab. It's dark purple, almost black with yellow pointy teeth through its half-open mouth and has no tongues. The creature doesn't move even an inch. The eyes have been replaced with crystals, red like juice and currant juice. Anyone home? Your voice is welcomed by the screeching of dozens of avian throats. They take off from behind the wall, heading towards the lake. After a few breaths, the eyes of the gargoyle grow brighter. What's with all these ape shouts? You lost? The words are coming from the monster's mouth, but it remains still. Stand in front of me. I want to see your mug. The drawling voice belongs to a woman, but is lined with unnatural creaking. Step closer. The eyes don't rotate nor blink. So, who are ye? Let's do a joke. I must say, as a Roadwarden, I've seen some disgusting beasts, but you surely have the kindest voice of them all. During the long pause, the glow of the gargoyle's eyes subside. Once they light up again, the voice gets even colder. I don't know what answer you're looking for, so you get none. Do you even know who I am? I do. Eudocia. Short pause. Well, at least you're respecting the hour, instead of interrupting my work. Remember, I meet people only in the evenings or the early mornings. Wait where you are. We're opening the gates. The monster's eyes darken again. Soon after you hear heavy steps, and the air shakes. Something lifts the beam blocking the gate. You realize that your hand's already on the handle of your axe. That's going to save my life if I keep this up. Ooh. It's like a more advanced Minecraft house. The gate opens violently and rebounds with a loud thud, almost closing again. The creature in front of you is made of floating rocks that appear to be connected, but it's just an illusion. It could twist and bend in every direction. The eyeless sentinel faces you blankly. You've seen other golems in Hovlevan, endlessly helping with bothersome tasks, but you have no idea what makes them move. It lowers its slab-like hand and steps aside, making way for you. Its head rotates, following your step. But other than that, it's as motionless as a statue. I enter the yard. The house in front of you has a huge entrance, just large enough for a golem. The building is whitewashed, but the lime is aged and damaged. The tools are spread around in no particular order. The rocks resting on the top of the shed resemble the golems. The garden patches covered with herbs and vegetables are neglected. It's quiet here. I approach the sitting golem. It seems dead, inactive as city folks would call it, but the pneuma still makes its chunks float less than an inch away from one another. It doesn't react to your presence. Like the previous golem, this one bears engraved signs on its larger rocks. Their meaning is unclear to you, and you can't tell if they're a decoration or carry of a spell. A leaf of the door opens. I step closer. The woman is tall and stands upright, with her arms crossed and legs apart. She's more than 30, with a face touched by lack of sleep. She gives you a long look, observing your blade, hands, boots, forehead, everything but your eyes. I greet ye. Without the distortion caused by the gargoyle, her strong voice isn't as disquieting. No surprise that it caught the eye, but don't disturb it. It's very much awoken and it will defend itself. Or me, if it comes to it. I give her a better look. She's wearing a long, ragged robe, covered in stains. It used to be blue, but now is unevenly pale. She's barefoot, with skin covered with dust and dirt. Her dark hair was recently washed, but it's untidily spread on her shoulders, back, and chest. She wears no jewelry, belt, or buckles. Make a joke. Won't bother you, be polite, get to it, don't say anything. Make a joke. It takes quite a few hours to reach this place. I bet not many people come around. She goes to the ground, takes a few deep breaths, and draws out her words. And I avoid their visits. I'm not in the mood for chatter. If you need to bother me, speak in the tongue of dragons or barter. I don't serve mead, I don't offer baths. If you come here, I better get away off from it. You walk past you and cocks her head towards the golem, who lets you in. He turns around and shuts the gate. Good that he came at such an hour. Keep it up in the future. If you come here in the middle of the day, you'll stand outside looking at the door like an ibex. You don't need more salutations, so her voice gets even harsher. What do you want? Okay, well first, I have a job. Photios has sent me to buy a spirit rock for his daughter. He hopes it will enhance Phoebe's pneuma. Oh, you don't want to try that. She grabs the end of her hair. It will boil her blood and rips her skin apart. Her shell is like a bottle for pneuma. It has its limits. You can train to contain more of it. I've been doing it for more than 20 years now, but there's no magical rock that's going to do it. But if you want, I can still sell it to you. Sure, you filled some arrows with pneuma before. Any ideas where this is from? I show her one that I found near the fallen tree. Why, you tracing a murderer? She smirks, but then grabs the arrows and takes a quick look. Black and orange. I don't know much about the woods, but I recognize these feathers. The people of Gale Rocks breed such pheasants. She gives it back. It's far in the north. Close to the coast. You have a job for me? She stands still for a moment, then cocks her hand to the side. I've got some stuff that could use a hand. You up for some danger if it comes to it? You nod and ask for what sort of creature is bothering her. No, I meant riding and climbing. If you can do it without grabbing that axe of yours, fine. Now give me a moment. She opens one of the heavy doors to her house, and you catch a glimpse of a messy bed and floor covered with clothes. After a minute, she shows up with a large sack filled with rods made of smooth, clean bronze. Here's the gist of it. I need you to get to 8 spots across the peninsula. High buildings, trees, mountainsides. Don't really travel much. She lets out a confident chuckle, so I can't hold your hands. I need one of them in white marshes, in the wetlands far west of here. Other than that, you need to keep your eyes open. She takes one of the rods. Once you reach a good spot, place one of these as high as you can. I'll pay you in dragons, 2 for each one. But place at least 4 before you come see me. I need as many of them as possible. So far so good. What are they for? Well, there's magic in them, as you can imagine. You weigh a rod in your hand. Even though it's more than 2 feet long, it's light, empty inside. You could bend it to on your knee. The bag also contains a long hemp cord and a scrap of cloth. If I were to send my golems away, let's say a mile or 2 from here, they'd stop moving at all, waiting for me to show up. She approaches the nearest sentinel and touches its chest. They carry similar rods inside, so the plan is to give them my orders better range, so to speak. I'm totally depending on hirelings, especially since they no longer stop by. She leans against the golem. Questions? How much time do I have? Oh, don't worry about it. Let's say before the leaves turn yellow. Okay, so as much time as we have. The locals may not be happy about that. She gives you a puzzled look. Wardens do have their ways to get the people on their side, correct? I may be forced to pull some strings. More money. You haggle for a bit, but her distress is like a wall. She waves your argument off. I'm not a merchant. I don't gather coins for the thrills of it. I'm putting almost 20 dragons on the table here. Should be enough. Do all 8 rods and I may prepare all else for you. And I can be sure that you've no plans to raid the villages with your army of unstoppable sentinels, right? Her grey eyes give you a long, disquieting look. You could swear it's getting colder here. I won't ask for your trust. I don't need it. Either help me or leave the rods and do your own stuff. Deal. How long to go back to Foggy's? 3 hours. So we have half an hour here. Okay. Looking for Asterion. She raises her chin, changing your look. I know not where he may be, but if he wanted to be found, he'd let us find him. All else? Can you enchant something for me? That's not how it works. She points at the golems. Her nails are short and clean. Her hands are soft. I work all the time, but each attempt takes me days, sometimes a full season. The tribes bring me things to enchant in the early spring and collect them a year later. I've got to... She blinks a few times, not sure what to say. Her grey eyes widen. Imagine stuff. It takes great focus. You mentioned that you generously reward her, but she only shrugs. You don't plant, you don't build. I won't eat dragon bones. For now, do your wardening duties, and come by the end of autumns. Maybe I'll have the time to get something done for you after the toss. What if I'm desperate? You and everyone else. Okay. Can I rest here? Even though she draws out her words with frustration, she speaks with ease, as if she were reciting a memorized speech. I know how harsh the woods can be, but I don't offer shelter to travelers. I want to look behind my own shoulders for hours, or use my golems to protect you. Travel north or south to look for a tavern or an inn. You'll find a safe hearth there. She blinks and crosses her arms. And we're both adults. Don't tell me that I could bind you with a rope and take away your blades. The less I have to touch ye, the better. Uh-huh. I bring news from the west. Old Pegos is facing a grave plague. She stands still. Come. Come again? While you describe the symptoms, she starts to fidget and finally interrupts you. Cut it. Have you heard about Eulalia and Irenaeus? Let me... Eulalia. Eulalia. And who's the other? Irenaeus. Or Irenaeus. Irenaeus. Okie dokie. Let me close the door that the dog opened. Mason is a sculptor. Her eyes are getting bad. He has a limps. I never entered the gate. She rubs her arms above her elbows as if to warm herself up. If you ever ride there again, ask around, please. I need to know. Why do you want a rod in white marshes specifically? Is that about the undead? No. Why? She scratches the ground with her foot, then points to the golem. I still need to do a bit of work with the sentinels, but I hope to offer one to them, maybe in the spring. We'll replace 10, 20 humans. The original amount may not have much food right now, but I know how to be patient. They have a lot of, they use the undead, right? She moves her hair behind her shoulder. All I can do is hope they know when to stop. Right? About bandits, do they come and bother you? She puts her hands on her sides and straightens up, displaying her unusual height. Is this another sick game of hers? If so, tell her I'm not interested in either her head or her offers. Movement by the golems. So they do come here. But she doesn't want to tell me more. Have you seen some of the hunters? Admin, he was here alright. Asked me about the lands east of the stone bridge in the north. But I couldn't help him much. Those are better off, too. The lands east of the stone bridges in the north. We haven't been to the stone bridge yet. I don't have time to stop by, though. You left Old Pagos during the same time when the village of the south collapsed. What happened? I shouldn't share these grim tales with outsiders. Give me nothing. I may hurt many northerners. You've been to the shortcut? The heart of the woods? Only once, she admits slowly. It's not a good memory. Her brief tale is vague. She once had to use her golems to travel to the other side, seeking a remedy for a stomachache. The beasts were afraid of the noise they make. She points to the massive stone legs of her creation. But the monkeys in the far west were too dumb even for that. They kept throwing they kept throwing things at us, even poop. She pauses, making a disgusted grimace. Couldn't scare them, reach them, or scare them away. You ask what happened next, but she crosses her arms. I was told it's better to ignore them. Let them get used to one sight. My stomach was better already, so it just took the long way back. Why do you live here so far away? No. Fine. I saw some words on the golems. What do they mean? It's not Roadwarden decorations. Okay. Question about your golems. She walks around the closest sentinel and observes it like a farmer with a donkey would like before a purchase. Isn't it clear what they are? Furniture that walks and works. They carry rocks and logs, hunt, kind of. I protect this place while I rest. What is there to say? Do they talk? Yudisha moves her lips, but her words are coming from the stone creature which doesn't move an inch. No more than the gargoyle you've seen. Her voice is deep, distorted by an echo. They don't need meat or bones and listen to my commands, but I have no understanding of what happens around them. To create a sentient creature, you need a human shell and a whole lot of necromancy. The glum raises its hands and shows you its palms. I'm not going to touch that. She didn't mention that her creations isn't much of a messenger. It needs to remain close to her. Just look at it. The golem covers its non-existent mouth. It has no ears, snout, or ears. Seeing the world through its head is like putting an eyeball in a rose bush. It takes some pneuma, and the further away it is, the more exhausting. How do you make one? I fill each rock with pneuma, bind them together. She pauses, then waves it off. You won't build in one anyway. Like alchemists, enchanters have their own secrets, but I've got no way of sharing my talent with others. Is it for sale? One day, or I hope so. She puts the golem's hands. One wrong order and it'll tear your head away, or kick over a house. It won't ever be safe, but the dead make for bad customers, and I won't be blamed for other stupidity. Her further answers come in great details, but they're rather complex. What you understand is she plans to invent a set of very specific commands that could be quickly learned, then bind them to a wand, binding it to the creature. I'm still not sure if it's the safest solution. If one was taken by a reaver, stuff could get ugly. Don't monsters react to the golem? She lets out a chuckle. They flee from them as they would from a trolls. They can't stalk their prey or jump at them from a bush. When they don't move for long, beasts take them for rocks. It's not like they need to breathe. They just sit still, waiting for a roe deer to get close. The golem's eyes suddenly get brighter. It jumps forward and punches the air. It lands with the sound of thunder. That's why I need them to be so large, the Enchantress explains. I can't give them muscle. The speed I give them is pure pneuma. Being firm and heavy helps. She disregards your mention of the rat in the herds. True, I make more mess than most humans would. That's one of the reasons why I stay away from the villages. Being all alone, I give the beasts time to get used to my walls. My sentinels know to stay away from unicorns and pebblers. Okay, I gotta leave. Let's get out of here. To Foggy's place. It's been half an hour that I spoke to her. Okay. I had a talk with Jason. She encourages you with a smile. And what did he say, love? I thought that the deal is off, or that he wanted to lie, that I wanted me to lie to her. Let's have her trust us more. I mentioned to her that he wanted me to lie to her. She walks around on the hearth like a bear in a cavern, dusting the shelves with a wet cloth. She keeps silent for a minute or two, then throws the rags in some jar, knocking them on the ground. Her loud words cover the cracking sound. So that's how it is. Her tone remains in control. She puts her hands on her shoulder, looking into your eyes. I appreciate your honesty, Leto. She hands you the cold piece of bone. 3 for the job, 1 for finishing it in fine time. She steps away, looking through the windows. There'll be consequences, she announces, lowering her voice. Anything else? I've already prepared what I need you to take care of. She nods towards a wooden cask that's onto the table. It's no larger than your stomach. It's a mighty fine strong cider. Brewed it myself. The folks at White Marshes paid for it many days ago. It was meant to be a wedding gift. But no soul came to pick it up. Take it to them, dear. I know it's heavy and I bet you're not eager to go there. She chuckles. But 3 coins are going to be plenty fine for you. It's not that far from here, just don't lose it at the trader's stall. She cracks her knuckles just by making a fist. It's not so valuable that you want to sell it behind my back. You ask who exactly is meant to receive the delivery, but she just waves her hand. She's left with the mayor, Helvius. Where did I leave my fish trap, by the way? Probably at the statue. If they don't take it, I bring it back? Why wouldn't they? Alright, let me know about that. I can sell it back to you for a good price. Alright. How much can you pay for this elk fur? You unfold the elk fur and she presses it with her open palm. Soft enough, large. Very good for my attic, dear. She examines it carefully, and the imperfections she points out sound to you rather minuscule. She sizes you up. I'll give you 20 dragon bones. She gives you no space to haggle. You're a dear, but it's already a fair offer. I give better ones to one of my regular. Okay, so if she trusts me more, she can give me more money. Maybe later then. I think she has iron scraps to sell, right? Yeah. We're told to sell them in White Marshes. Let me repair my Gambison. We have food that we can trade with the Warlock. Hey, I'm getting advanced experience. Let's sleep here. Ooh, Foggy! You have plenty of space and many furs to choose from, and the staff will help you take care of the mount first. Foggy offers you to rest here for free. Deal. I'm taking free. The rain once again hits the ground. Damn it. Muddy roads. The moon is bright, and so is the night. You recognize the shapes of owls and bats, and spot movements on the ground. There are many stories about the moon's origins and purpose, and they're older than any of the doctrines known in the cities. These legends are shared not by religion, but rather by tribes, as if they're part of a deeper conviction, sometimes spread through the milk of mothers and wet nurses, or through the whispers of the trees and winds. The moon is a powerful spirit, because it sits out of the eye. It's a large rock that one day will fall from the sky. It controls the weather. It gathers weak clouds like a shepherd. It's on the strange animals. Let me go with the weather. The days are getting shorter. 14 hours. Listening to the grunts of annoyed Rose makes you feel uneasy. Let's eat. We're in decent shape. Caius, your boss told me you had some sort of visions. You won't tell me. How long do I have to travel? Half an hour? An hour and a half? I can go to White Marshes in this muddy road, but I'd rather not. I think we'll go to the tunnel and try and clear it out. Maybe the shelter. Let's check our fish trap. 3 fishes. Nice. Set it back. I'm not... yeah, we can spend half an hour to cut down the bushes. You tether Rose to the tree, letting it choose between drinking and grazing and napping. You prepare your equipment, keeping an eye on the bushes where you saw Rabbit's last movements. You use your weight to move the plants to the one side, then cut right above the ground. The stems are healthy and flexible, so getting through them is rough, or you have enough strength to deal with them in a couple of minutes, then throw them into the lake. The work goes on for a bit, but once you're done, the statue stands in its former glory. A couple of old offerings are still on the pedestal, polished rocks, bone figures, and moldy bowls and plates. More so you see a dragon bone. Nah. Leave it here. Let's go to the ruined shelter. But before that, let me repair my Gambison a bit more. Takes me an hour and a half. It'll stop a life-threatening strike. Let me also eat a bit. For my fishes. And let's go. To the ruined shelter. Oh. The dusk foxes. I need to get rid of these creatures. Use your bundles. A shield could help me push the foxes away. With the axe in one hand and the shield in the other, you enter the hamlet. Am I getting training, by the way, fighting with the shield? Where is it? Go back. Well, go back. Where's my shield? There it is. No. With the axe in one hand and the shield in the other, you enter the hamlet. The dusk foxes react right away, seeking new positions as they try to keep you in the front yard. The lumbering beast is running to your right, clinging to the walls, hoping to repeat its attack from behind. The golden one jumps on the tree stumps, growling at you as it lowers its head. The last one, which seems to be the bravest, remains in constant movement, waiting to attack you, then moving back. I have to be faster than they are and trust in my blade. I take the initiative, keep moving, cut whenever I have the chance. You and the brave fox are equally fast. It doesn't wait for you to land a hit and nimbly dodges your charge, but you manage to reach it with the side of the axe before the foxes regroup. The weakest fox approaches your leg, while the golden one clings to your shield, with its claws, trying to get to your neck. You're strong enough to grab it and throw it away, making it hit the wall with an unpleasant thud, though your hand also gets scratched pretty badly. Your blood remains cold, the pain scares away the 2 stronger foxes, and the third one is unwilling to attack you without assistance. You raise your blade, and they wait no longer. The stronger two runs for the pups, grab them by the neck, and keeping the distance, carry them to the hole in the wall, near the bare tree. They get through it with confident jumps. When the lumbering one disappears in the wilderness, it gives the pack shelter one last glance. Let's check out the ruined building. I could hang around for a bit and clean up the mess, but I'm so tired it will take some time. So I have to go back once I'm... Nah, you know what? No. Take as much time as you need. We aren't traveling. The task involves a lot of dirt, and you disturb whole armies of ants, worms, and bugs of all shapes and colors, which are feasting on food, thatch, mushrooms, animal droppings, and one another. Prepare your glove and some water. You throw smaller pieces of the roof over the wall and pull the larger ones through the main entrance. In your current condition, the work is rather exhausting, and you need to take a bit of a break. After 2 hours or so, you say that all there is to be found. The wood is beyond usage, but there is no unpleasant surprises covered in dirt. If necessary, it will be easy work with the remains. There were some scraps of bones, clothes, leather among the rubble, as well as a broken club. But the only thing of value you find are 2 dragon bones. Money. Let's have a look around. Oh, it's one of those segments. Okay. Okay, first look at the gate. There are the timber inside the building that were destroyed by time, with no effort put into sustaining them with tar and oil. Now slowly consuming by the worms and fungi that are beyond restoration. Let's look in the front yard. Okay, what about the backyard? No. Look at the walls. The outer walls looks generations old, but they used to be maintained. Some of these materials came from different times and areas. Having no parapet, walk, or tower, it's meant to interfere with the roaming paths of wild beasts. What about the hole? No. What about the shelter? The floor is clear, but the wood is beyond usage. Roof? Timber outside the building that were destroyed by time, with no effort put into sustaining them with tar and oil. What about trees? Or tree? The tree, especially the one that grew into the wall, visibly struggled to survive in the local soil, but still serve as a shelter for birds and squirrels. You notice claw marks on the trunks, but you don't think they belong to the dust foxes. They're way too large. If humans were to return to this place, it may take some time before the beasts realize this place is inhabited. What about the stump, the tree stump down there? It's hard to say if these trees were cut to use their lumbers at this very shelter or to carry them away. The stumps are already reclaimed by fungi and bug. There's also one trunk that was split half horizontally, now serving as a table. Okay, look at the table. One of the hamlet's corners seemingly serves as an outside dining area. Would be a spot to play games and rest. There's a table made from a trunk, stumps turned into seats, and even an old wooden cup. All of these things are being overtaken by bugs and fungi. This spot is also not so overgrown by grasses. The beaten path leads in two directions, towards the bushes and the large tree stump, and towards the hamlet's entrance. Okay. Large tree stump. No. Bushes. You start with the bushes growing in front of the yard, not finding anything unusual about them. Or you stop for longer those growing next to the rock face. The spot here smells with urine. As you move the leaves away, you find a dark cave behind them. You can't say for sure what it hides, but you hear no water or hide. The wild plants are healthy. Get to chopping. There isn't a convenient way to simply grab the plants and cut, as the wood is frustratingly resilient and the volumes of leaves limit your movement. With no proper tools at your disposal, you take little steps. Remove the twigs with your knife, then bend the branches to limit their flexibility, then slice, twist, and pull. It takes almost half an hour, but you finally reach the point when you can get through while letting enough light to get a good look. The cave gets shorter the deeper it goes, getting too small for most humans, about just a few feet, but the entrance was used by someone as a hideout. There's stool and trash inside, including a surprising amount of bones, and one thing that catches your attention, a bronze axe. The handle is eaten by rot, unpleasant to touch. You break off a part of it without even trying, and leave the rest of the weapon by its cold blade. It's few red decorations with tiny notches on its still sharp blade, but you don't doubt it's a fine piece of artisanship, though not of a higher quality than your own axe. Still, a decent bronze can endure centuries. With some sharpening, it may serve as your backup tool. All you need to put is together is a set of tools. Maybe a trader will have some. Remove the whole handle and put the head between... Bleh. I remove the whole handle and put the head with the rest of my bundles. So I can have two axes, which I can throw. Throw one and use the other. What about the cliff? The rock face is tall, seemingly too steep for a human to climb it without proper equipment. I might need one of the bone claws. Bronze axe head. Requires a bit of work. Let's go back once we have some kind of grappling hook. Where do I go? The tunnel. Let's see, it takes an hour and a half to go back to Foggy, so I have an hour and a half to explore. I place a bronze rod. You find a perfect spot, a small crack between two massive rocks. Use the rod to broaden it just a bit, then push it halfway in and fill the gaps with a rag. Alright. Let's check out the tunnel. I turn to the right. The corridor is unlike the others, taller and more rounded, with claw marks on the walls. Leads to a chamber with a ceiling supported by a single beam. There's also an abandoned cart, the fence of an animal pen, and a few long sticks and planks. You take a list at the new exit. It leads slightly upward and looks a bit like stairs. Search. You find no catches or boxes, and the cart is empty. The one thing that draws your attention are the planks and logs themselves. They're in decent shapes. Flexible, though too moist to be worth carrying out of the cave. It could be turned to a new door, or maybe a table. Climb up. You flinch as the light touches the resting bones, but nothing tries to jump at you, and you hear no shuffling feet. You step towards and take a close look at the remains of a massive creature. Used to be 2 times as long as your palfrey, 3 if you were to count the hind limbs. Resemble a bear, but his skull has no sharp teeth and is of a different shape. Take a closer look. Those of the creature are as long as your own trunk, though the age makes them brittle. You observe the long legs, horse-like heads, and the massive stomach. You can't tell if you have ever seen such a beast alive, but surely not its trophies. A part that is uniquely sharp are the creature's claws. They could pierce 2 sides of your skull at once, are curved as a war pick's, and heavy as an axe, and the mark on the walls perfectly match them. When impressive, they're too old and awkward to be turned to tools. Sure. Let's go back. And go down the tunnel. Head to the stream. How long do we have? Still some time. Let's follow the water. I picked up the cave ear mushroom. The corridor becomes less spacious after just a few steps, but you manage to take a good look around, moving both with and against the flow. The wet walls are home to worms, mold, and what looks like pale spiders, though with only 6 legs. Above the commotion, you spot a cave ear sticking out the wall, a familiar, though unfriendly mushroom, the creamy color distorted by light. You grab your knife and cut it away. You can cut what seems like the least bug-infested chunk. After wrapping it with linen sheet, you wash your hands. The cave ear is used by some fighters to enhance their sense in combat. You may want to take it to an alchemist. Move deeper. Just have a bit of time. For the chamber. Go to the armory. The tiny room. No, nothing. Go to the cave with stalactites. Try to open the door. The door opens quietly, and you return to the main tunnel. You could turn south again and see if there's anything you missed, but after you blink a few times, you realize there's a light at the outside of the tunnel, far ahead. It's weak and flickers like a torch. Let's go back. Yeah. Now we can make it just in time. Let's see, what can I do? There's some food. Cave ear. Not much. Enter the tavern. I can buy fresh meals. I can sell the bronze axe head. Could be older than my parents. She holds the bronze head under her nose, examining the blade. Not bad. Steel stays sharp longer, you know. But bronze survives waves and rains. I'll take it for 6 dragons. My son would enjoy it. Yeah, maybe if I make it a full axe, they can pay more. Let's sleep here. It's free. We'll go to White Marshes tomorrow. Hardly any light reaches the ground from the clouded sky, the deep night, as some people call it. So dark that you can't see the fingertips of your extended hand. You have to look outside, but to no avail. Even the predators will spend the next few hours hidden under what surrounds their shelters and hideouts. Not all of them, though. You hear cheerful howling coming from the heart of the forest. A hunt queen, or maybe a hunt lord, slowly capturing its next meal. I can't stay on watch the entire night, but before my second sleep, I sit still with a single candle, looking for anything that may try to kill me. Let's eat. Can I ask about the moon? No. Okay. Let's get out of here. 2 white marshes. Up. Gotta pass. There's a man living in Grey Rocks who tries to heal his spell-less daughter. The warlock cuts in right after you mention Eudocia's rock. Whatever it is, there's no way anyone other than a real prophet would help that girl. Numa is weak to my tribe, you know. Myself, I'm gifted. Yeah, but I'm no teacher here. Throw the pagan priest from Howler's Dell to help me twist more than a twig. It was a way to put Numa in shells for good people. For good people who would kill to find it. Can you sell some stuff to me? Bug killing ointment. Keeps bugs away. The bone hook. Buy that. Anything else I can buy? I'm gonna be selling my iron. Nah, not really. Open the path, please. Can you take some fish? Better than what I've got. He smiles with his yellow teeth and waits for you to throw the fish into the basket. Puts it back on the bench and snaps his fingers. Done. Okay then. Let's go. I don't have anything for the guy who wanted to read yet. On your way to the village, you see a girl, no older than 15, walking through the tall purple grasses along with a few other youngsters. As she notices your arrival, she runs towards the road, waving to draw your attention. Yes? It takes her a few moments to reach you. Her clothes are baggy, appropriately so for her age, but she's also rather scraggy for a laborer. She carries a slingshot and a simple backpack made of creepers and twigs filled with green leaves, wild fruits, and dead squirrels lying on the surface. To her question, she gives you a curious glance. Roadwarden! Parents told me? Not sure which part of it is a question, you're not in agreement. What it is that one does really? Hunt bounties? I patrol the roads and travel between villages. Some roadwardens seek bounties, yes, but I do all sorts of things, whatever is needed. Oh, you're an adventurer, then. She makes an odd, displeased grimace, then sneezes and smiles at you. Not really, adventurers are paid to do odd jobs, but often don't follow the city laws, nor the local ones. Unlike roadwardens. Yep, makes sense. She nods but looks around with a frown. So you're mercenaries, for sorts? They do follow laws if the pay is right. Even less so. Mercenaries follow the rules of their employers, but they get hired only as fighters. Either as guards or one-time soldiers. They mostly learn how to fight other humans. Are you a soldier? She waves towards her companions, showing them to not worry about her. You work for the city, right? I do, but I work only with my mount, and answer only to the chieftain. I'm no lieutenant, and I'm required to handle many tasks of my own. Securing shelters, for example, or staying alive in the wilderness. Don't occupy a specific spot and I'm not allowed to collect taxes. Orton is confident, but she passed her slingshot. Here it is then. You're part pathfinder, part adventurer. The city pays you to cross the woods by yourself, and you do odd jobs for their own sake. Pathfinders don't patrol the roads. They cross the wilderness and seek game trails that would be widened by tools. They don't work alone. Beasts are too dangerous. My horse area won't squeeze through some shrubs, you know. But you know who does work alone? She persists. Rangers! Lone spies! You're pretty much that. Or just arguing with some kid. I mean, you're close, but rangers are meant to stay hidden and guarding rumors, seeking foes and monsters. They don't intervene unless they're directly threatened, and are meant to, above all, bring news back to the lieutenant or sabotage enemy troops. I work closely with mayors and never hide my identity. She repeats parts of your discussion quickly, then bursts into laughter. Now I get it. All these names are a mess, huh? I'm impressed you know all of them. There have been many rangers or pathfinders around since the invasion. And other roadwardens. She shrugs and steps away, trying to silence the loud calls of the other foragers. One was here before summer, but found nothing to do here. Was just speaking with Thyrsis a lot. You know Thyrsis? You nod and she looks back. Her fellow foragers are telling her to go back to work. My mom was a soldier before she got me, but no one tells her much about her, see? City soldiers don't bother us with no more, so people forgot. Let's get out of here. I gotta do a bunch of stuff. A delivery from Foggy, the cask. With an open mouth, he steps away, looking around and frowns at the woman who's scowling at your gesture. I don't need it no more. Take it out for our village. Raises his voice but can't hide his hesitation. You're not getting your dragons back. I wouldn't ask. The path from Foggy is long. Take it back to her or drink it yourself for all I care. Eudosha the Enchantress would like to place this rod in your village. Is it a problem? She what? Let me see. He swings the hollow piece of bronze like a sword made from a branch, then raises it above his head, staring at it with patience. A lightning catcher or a toy? Well, he gives it back. Come one day before noon, you go out with the foragers as a guard. Work with them for half a day and we'll put it in a tree. Or on a roof, mayhaps. Sure. What if I pay you? 4 bones? Hell no. I'll do the work. Right now. In half an hour or so, the expedition is ready. 6 souls, none of them are older than 40, and with no undead to assist them. Too dumb, the oldest woman explains. We have no overseer with us. Their accents are heavy, but they rarely address you. For most of the time, they exchange single-word commands, gesturing for you to quiet down whenever you step on a branch. You spend half a day following the bog paths, but also going deeper into the wilderness. As a group, you manage to scare away the smaller beasts, and your guide claims to lead you around the hunting territories of the larger predators. From time to time, you keep to what looks to you like the most inconvenient trails in the sight, yet no one objects. You cross the muds, shallow waters, and ancient dark game trails, tracking any movement among leaves and grasses. Hungry and annoyed by the insects, you go back to wide marshes, carrying baskets and sacks full of mushrooms, berries, herbs, and great leaves. Also a few birds and a few critters. Let's pay attention to other people. Halvius waits for you at the gate, nodding with approval. 2 steps away from him, you see a short corpse, bare bone above its waist, but still wearing pants and carrying scraps of meat on his feet. I'll give you a moment for breath. The mayor tells you to fetch the rod. After you do so, he throws it at the undead, bouncing the rod off its head with a thud. It starts to laugh. Go on now. Put it on the tree there and tie it with a rope. Hey, you told me that you would do it for me. He gives you a puzzled look and tries to wrench himself away, but your strong grasp doesn't make it easy. There are no trees inside, you dumb toad. He stops suddenly, and after a long pause, calls for the undead to come back. I found a tall building. You let him go back and walk through your bundles, where you quench your thirst. Okay. I have stuff to sell. Do you want quarrels? Pay for 3. Not a good deal. $6 for the iron scraps. I was told this was the place where I would get the best price. So sure. Not much of a profit from Foggies, but whatever. It's some money. He also doesn't buy my fur, so I think selling at Foggies, once we have good trust, will be the best bet. You used to sell wood, correct? He nods in approval. In the old days, our firewood warmed up all the walls and toes in the side of Hag Hills. But Gale Rocks in the far north built his own hamlet for woodcutters, and Howler's Dell grew its fine garden for themselves, just to get by without us. They have oaks, cherries, and their own darker birches. I have no more reason to trade with us, other than peat. You get to the buildings. While they are indeed new, most of them in the provinces would be viewed as crude and cramped. These changes and struggles of recent years, are they related to the ruined village? He stands still. You feel the inquisitive glance of the nearby villagers. Whatever you're trying to ask me about should stay in your dirty mouth, outsider. Okay. Any missing hunters? That you're right. Was here, but not many days ago, with questions on howlers and cats. Some dumb bet, she told me. Was heading back north. Whatever. Let's buy the bug repelling potion. It'll save me time whenever I travel through this ford. Can I look around the creepers? Nothing. Okay then. It's getting late, I have to go back to Foggy soon. I was meant to deliver this cask of cider to Helvius, but he's afraid to accept it. Any advice? Right, the new laws. They don't carry disdains. We're not paying for rotten apples. You explain that it was already paid for, and when the man asks you to show him how large it is, you tap the barrel loudly, then flinch when the man's left creeper glides towards it. Surprised by your reaction, he clears his throat and mutters an apology quickly. Helvius follows Aurentius like a duckling towards his mother. He steps away. When he gets bored, comes here from time to time for a special balm. You can keep it for him. He'll appreciate it. Sure. The creepers reach for the cask like the limbs of a sea monster and wait for you to undo the buckles and knots. Without taking as much as a step, he moves the cider behind him swiftly, dropping it into his basket. The squash food lets out a sad moan, making the man turn around, but it's already too late. He raises the lid and nods to you. I'll give it to him on Sundays if that matters. I'll buy the thing that keeps bugs away. Thank you. Go back to Foggy is gonna be 2.5 hours. Let's check out the old forest garden, might be one of the hunters there. Forage for wild plants. Nah. Okay, we have some time. I think we go back to the tunnel and fight. We're in good shape. But I know this is a hard fight. Actually, I can't. We have to go back. Whoops. Okay then. I took care of the cask of cider. She pats your back with her huge hands and leads you towards the 3 coins lying on the table. And what happened to it, dear? Albus was afraid to take it, but acted with the warlock Thyrsis. You shared a story of what it took for you to deliver the cask, causing her a hearty chuckle. Fair enough. Let them handle this the way they like, she says with a smirk. But I see you speak with deeds. You've done a lot for me. I want you to feel welcome to Foggy Lake. She nods towards the cauldron in the middle of the room. From now on, you don't have to pay for the first meal you eat at this place every day. I'll always have something for you on the side. I'll tell you if I need it. She still doesn't trust me enough to Sell stuff from Asterion. Oh, but whatever. How about the elk fur? 21 dragon bones. You can buy meals. Have a free meal. And let's rest here. It's all the time we have. What do we do tomorrow? I gotta move around. We can report to Creeks and go and cook the fallen tree. Let's do that. I'll take the entire day. Up. Time to sleep. We'll be in full health. Free meal, please. Foragers, you guys can... Nope, you don't trust me. What if I wash a bit? Go to the bridge and move to this edge. Somewhere below you, you notice a glimmer. Hey you! Step back! Run! Without even thinking, you leap towards the yard. A long, teeth-filled mouth breaks through the water surface, splashing it in every direction. It bites the empty place where you were just standing. While the front limbs, thick, scaled and ending with claws as large as your fingers, land on the woods. Once the Saurian's yellow eyes notice that you're outside of its reach, it nonchalantly slides into the lake. You hear laughter coming from the yard. Ian was running with help, but now stands with a head on his thighs, cackling without rest. V, on the other hand, looks at you with worry. You see a hand kept beneath his cloak, as if he was reaching for something. What are you doing, I? The lake isn't for outsiders. I'll stay away, thank you. Okay, so we can't wash here. Let's try and fight in the tunnel. Let's enter. Go as far as I can. Check out south first. Reach the other side of the cave-in, getting a good view. Found a new door here. It's a bit tilted, closed and soggy. Try and open it. With a key I found. A bit of wiggling, the padlock gives in. The door lets out a sigh and you enter the humble cave that's been turned into a storeroom. Your right reveals crates, piles of timber, a stack of rocks, and another of bricks. Search. You put the building materials aside, taking note of what somewhat dry timber. But the first thing you find you find are tools stored in one of the crates. The crude axes, hammers, chisels, pickaxes, and digging bars are old and made of rocks, antlers, and bones. Though they're worthless, you move a few of them closer to the tunnel. If necessary, you know where to find them. Okay. Let's hide my own light and move closer to the other light. You put away your light and sneak forward. You pay attention to sound and movement, but there's no cracking of campfire. No wandering of a chatter. You see a shape of a gate far in the distance. Look for anything unusual. You do so in almost complete darkness. You notice something blocking your boot. You crouch and touch the long cord stretched right above the ground in a few spots, holding pieces of wood and bones that are meant to make a sound if disrupted. Look carefully, putting the remains of the trap on the floor. Putting it close. Slowly but surely, you reach the edge of the light, but don't dare get any closer. Distinctive shadows belong to unmoving human-like shadows that have no flesh on their necks and chests, only the bones. You move back. There may be 3 undead there, if not more. You can prepare for some surprise in the tunnel to slow them down or weaken them, but who knows how easy it would be to outsmart them. Or I could fight them right now. I got my hand in my mouth and let out a shout. How's my fighting experience? Advanced combat experience. Let's try. I let out a shout. Come and get me. The creatures don't scream or wail, and neither make threatening gestures, nor cast angry glances. You only rattle of their bones as they hit against the rocky floor. The empty eye sockets of naked skulls reveal nothing. The 4 skeletons wear a few rags, and 2 of them still have scraps of flesh on their limbs. Their weapons are unconvincing, simple digging tools and spears tipped with rocks. But you notice the speed and confidence of their movements. The one in the back is holding a wooden lantern, while another is carrying a fresh torch. The Lugo doesn't pay much attention to their steps. Crossbow. Depending on its movement and how much time and space it has to dodge, it may be difficult to hit with a quarrel, so you may not have more opportunities to load your weapon. And for the head. The core pierces through the forehead of it, stays inside the skull, while the undead leans away for a few moments. It doesn't take long for it to straighten again. Towards the door behind me. Keep running. I gotta find a good spot. This chamber with Skeletak might be a good place. Face the undead. Limited space helps you predict the skeleton's movements and defend your size. With or without flesh, your target blocks and dodges, making your fight as if you're facing a human, not a bloodthirsty beast. Or you swing your axe with strength, cutting through the bones isn't easy, especially when the enemy parries with its own tools. At one point, you have to take a few leaps back, disoriented by the rattling in darkness. During the clash, you take a few hits, but you end up surrounded by crushed and detached bones, gasping for airs. Yet victorious, your game doesn't stop any cuts it took, protecting your flesh. I'll check out the tunnel. I'll check out the corpses once I'm done with the tunnel. Let's check out the long tunnel north. Dark chamber ahead. While the chamber is in shambles, you recognize its unusual furniture. Its sharpened stakes, shield-like tables for crossbow users, empty spear racks. If necessary, it could be the last line of defense for guards and diggers, surrounding any beasts or bandits determined enough to reach this end of the tunnel. You're in front of a massive double-leaf gate, taller than 2 humans made of bronze. You're not sure if a single shell can even move. Search the room. While there's plenty of furniture to look under or push aside, the undead left little to no sign of their presence, as if they were idly waiting for years. A small pile of candles and another much larger one of candle stumps don't explain why the walking corpses would use light. Here are a few candles for later. Take a look at the gate. It's made of sheets held by thick bars. The pictures impressed on the surface portrays fishers and their catch. Sea oysters covered with nets, falling harpies and working diggers. What's doubtful that it's made of materials worthy of turning into blaze is priceless. You look through the keyhole, observing the continuing path in clear skies with ease, despite the cobwebs. Take a deep breath of fresh air, then put 4 fingers inside. Use the key. Easier said than done. Holding the key alone makes you hold your breath, and as you work at pushing the leaves open, you puff and blow, taking breaks. After it's done, you wipe your sweaty forehead, giving you a proud look at the light that has entered the tunnel. Okay, do I need the tools for anything? I don't know. No, go back to Rose. It may be the right time to take care of the corpses. Picking up the bones won't take much time, but the funeral traditions are rather demanding. You need to chop up and gather enough wood to form a big pile somewhere down the hill. Of course, the orthodox approach isn't the only possible one. They deserve proper... Whoever those creatures used to be, they deserve proper parting rites. It may take me 3 hours or so, but let them rest on a pyre. After spending a few more minutes in the darkness, you bring the 3 sacks filled with human remains to a small, regrowing clearing. You put on gloves, prepare some tools, and collect wood from the thickets and the tunnels, crudely splitting the branches and the logs. Covered with sweat, soil, and the scent of smoke, you observe the head-high flames. The bones are sticking out of the wood like hedgehog's quills, and crack from heat loudly. I should wash. Well, let's go to Gale Rocks and tell them about the tunnel we've opened. We're saving like half an hour, I think, of travel time. Let's go to the digger and tell them first. I've opened up the tunnel. The undead are done. As Yuno shakes the table, her toy's structure falls apart. Merely like that? You cleared all of them awoken on your own? So you nod, she looks at your axe and then at her toys. Better tell our head woman about it, and I'll talk with the others. We can move to some serious work in spring. But it would be better for us to do the groundwork before snow falls. She shuffles to wood blocks and moves them into a single row. The tunnels is somewhat safe. Could you take a closer look at it, inspect the chambers? Report to me and I'll ask one of my neighbors to give you an easier time. Even though she seems to not thought of it, the blocks are now ordered from the brightest to the darkest. I've explored the entirety of the tunnel. In the initial report, Yuno comes up with one question after another, and while some of them are specific and significant, others are absurdly simple, as if she's making sure you're not lying to her. You don't know all of the answers, but in the end she smiles at you, clapping her hands without a sound. With that, we can gather timber, rocks, and tools, and I already know which ones will be just perfect. Cheers, Roadwarden. If you want, I can ask one of my neighbors to repay your hard work, and not just once. Free baths. Need a boat. A free room where I can spend the nights. Food. Give me a discount on a boat. That's the most money I can think of. Or at least have more trust. More trust might mean more money. Nah, go for the discount on the boat. The matchmaking. I share Shoshi's message with Marina. Her blushing cheeks contrast with the pale skin on her hands. I can't, she says after a long moment. I thought about our previous conversation, Roadwarden. I'm not ready for such changes. Just because my son deserves the peace that we have now. I'd rather join the monastery than put pleasure above prayer. You're also trying to match Paulus, I've heard. We asked our head woman to reward you after you help us both. Be sure to meet her then. Roomkeeper. I heard you used to be quite a traveler. Have you seen anything of interest on the road leading to the heart of the woods? Who's been saying such silly things about me? Hearing your answer, she chuckles. When I was merely a young lass, that world was still wild, barring the wall and the watchtower. She shares a few memories with you. Often mentions how the road changed with every season, with keepers such as her, being more like pathfinders than guides. For a few minutes, her stories get a bit dark. They're brought up with a warm smile. Trying to memorize her meanderings takes you a bit of an effort. Every time we reach the tall wood, not the dark ones in the east, but the tall ones in the west, right? She figure describes a path leading south to an old orchard. There were so many fruits and nuts and berries and beasts. So we're picking whatever we could, but chiefly the hazelnuts, best in the north, and with no worms on them. But stay merely a bit too long, right? And the monsters get to you, from all sides. Without travelers must have already overgrown, such a pity. The conversation goes on for a few more minutes, but you don't expect much more, it will be used to you. Boatmaker doesn't have anything to say. The gossip guy, I'm not gonna pay. The cook, no meals. The tailor, I have the bone ring. Anything else I can do? A sewing kit. Nah. The headwoman, the armorer. They have quarrels for me. Go for the headwoman. Okay. I put the gate key on the desk. The undead from your tunnels are gone. As she drags the key over the desk, it looks comically large in her tiny hands. Now would you look at that? She says to no one in particular, then looks at you with the eyes. You face this threat for no good reason. I already told you I wasn't planning to work on the tunnel. She scratches her desk with the key, thinking. But I ain't going to deny that it opens some opportunities. My neighbors are going to appreciate your selfless efforts. She tries to push the key into the nearby bags, but is suddenly interrupted by the voice of the perfume guard who speaks directly to you. I used to be head of the garrison that kept the tunnel safe, he tests towards you. But it was left to itself 10 years ago, against my advice. I don't care if you're a Roadwarden or adventurer or drifter. You deserve a reward, and if our headwoman ain't willing to reward your contribution, reaches for the belt that holds his sickle sword, and Serena, with unmasked frustration, tells him to hold it. Don't get so dramatic. Here. She also has small pouches, and it lands at the edge of the desk. 10 should be enough, considering that you weren't asked to move as much of a finger. Let's get and talk to Yuno, our digger. She'll have some grand plans coming to her soul. Maybe you'll manage to keep them on leash. How do you talk with her? I'm just here to leave the key with you. Okay, can I now have the key to the watchtower? She nods. I've heard good things about you. I'll have. So I'll trust you with a spare one. Don't expect to give you another one if you lose it. She asks her granddaughter to fetch it, and after a minute or so, the cold iron object, not much sharper than your finger, is placed in your hand. Can I do some work for you? How much money do I have? 26. We need 100 for our goal. We're getting there. She runs her eyes over you, then glances at the guards in front of her. There's something that may be an easy task for a traveler, chiefly one that doesn't talk too much. She reaches for one of the tablets, then nods with approval. Right, I want you to look around, not ask around. There's a group of spice and tool merchants that was meant to reach our village some time ago. Yet they fell silent, most likely taken by the fog, by some beasts. Keep your eyes open, maybe you'll find their shells. Or better, their wares. Once you learn what happened, I'll pay you. She starts to hum to herself, looking into her pouch from the desk. 5 coins. Just don't speak with any other tribes about it. We must keep this to ourselves, and if the merchants turn out to be nowhere to be found, I'll pay you as well. I found an abandoned wagon on the eastern path. She's got your findings, but she hesitated to trust you. Right, I would expect them to have a wagon, but that ain't enough to be sure. Better get there fast, seek some trails. The cart breaking could have forced its owners to turn back. Any ideas where I could start? Most merchants take the western path, so in your place I'd hang around some villages. I would. But these ones were new. They could have tried to use the eastern route, which is faster but more dangerous. Okay, so I have to look for the signs that pass through the heart of the woods. Let's stop here for today. Oh, can I ask about Asterion? Your conversation with the locals are unfolding much more smoothly. You return to your shelter, who previously hesitated to tell you what he knows about Asterion. He clears his throat, but he finally caves in. There was one soul who spoke with him before, more than anyone else, Navika, the boatmaker. Okay, Asterion. You tell her what you've learned and her hands slow, then finally stop. You have some wrong ideas. I don't know where he is now, or if he is alive or dead. They needed a small boat. I sold it to him. He took it to the beach, and that's all I've seen of him. So you don't know where he set off to? She pauses and scowls at you. That's what I'm saying. The Forbidden Island. I have enough clues to believe that Asterion has sailed to High Island, northwest of the peninsula. It hasn't been ever seen. So far, you know almost nothing about this place. I need to ask around. I'm looking for someone. Am I? I don't think so. Let's go to the southern path. We gotta clear it again. Then we can go to Crease for one big payout. Let's see how much time we have. 4 hours and 45 minutes. You can also open the watchtower. Maybe rest there. As far as we can tell, none of the nearby mushrooms can be trusted. Even the ants avoid them. You don't spot any larger predators. I follow the directions to the spot where the dead man was found. You head behind the shadow pond in the far east and find a small ravine of sort. Instead of the water, it hides torn clothes, broken tools, remains of a camp. There are no bones around. Whoever had found their hand in this place surely turned into an undead years ago. There's a broken rope hanging from the tree stump. The other part of the plant is already at the bottom of the ravine. Take a look. You grab Rose's halter. Your mount observes the area nervously, not willing to gaze on the sparse, dry grass. I should save its strength, you think to yourself. Not willing to repeat the mistake of the previous traveler, you tie your rope to the stone instead of any of the plants. You take only what's necessary to descend, leaning with your boots against the rock face. The sound of the winds and birds are muffled and echoed. You end up in a corridor of rocks. Check out the traveler's possessions. I find no blood, flesh, or bones, but the clues tell you all you need. Someone was betrayed by their own rope, now lying on the ground with a torn loop. They landed on their bag, in which they found a bunch of broken supply jars and scraps of linen. They tried to crawl away. You find nothing of value, not even dragon bones. Maybe that's what the dead used to own such unreliable equipment. You climb back, but you turn around. Once you realize that you overlooked something sticking out of the wall. A pickaxe, surrounded by dozens of cracks. The smaller rocks already crumbled up. I grab the tool. It gives way easily. It gives way easily, more thanks to the rust than to your muscles. You throw it away, using your hands to pull away the shards of the wall, and gasp once you recognize the patina on the surface. You kneel down and take a better look at the rocks. At least half of them bear a touch of green copper, like a statue in an old temple. You come to your senses and pushing away the image of the fortune idleness. A large group would have to set up a hamlet there to even inspect the vein with workers, guards, wood, supplies, tools. All who knows the locals. Squabbles over ore can turn violent pretty fast. Now I have to decide if it's a secret I take to Havlevan or something I show the locals. I think we're going to take it to Havlevan. They might pay me for that. I can travel away. Copper ore? Did I update my quest? Can I make the decision right now? Boo boo. Trade and get rocks, peat. I found a spot on the eastern road that may be part of a larger copper vein. Should be investigated by an experienced team, and Havlevan would surely appreciate if I can be the first one to get to it. Alright. 3 hours, 15 minutes. Let's go to the old bridge. Oh gosh. Not this again. Shoot him. So they move away. I gotta look at that bridge. 2 hours. I can't go back. I'm gonna have to take shelter in this tower. Let's use the key. It goes smoothly, and after a bit of fidgeting, you find the right spot. You hear the heavy mechanism giving into your will, followed by the creaking of rusty hinges. An empty table stands in the middle of a large, round room filled with dusty furniture. Without the open door, you struggle to see anything. I want to make sure there's nothing trying to jump me. The first thing you notice is that the room isn't high, and just like the window suggested, there's a second floor above it. The scent sparks an image of a cellar, humid, but without much mustiness. 3 stumps used as stools surround a round table in the center, now covered in dust. The shelves are empty, with no tools left behind, and you see a couple of dishes laying in various spots, empty and sticky. The bugs are crawling both on the furniture and near the walls. Spiders, roaches, worms. You think about taking a look into one of the casks, but the smells coming up from it makes you change your mind. Instead, you climb up the ladder. The view there isn't much different. The floor is covered with pieces of trash, dirty furniture, and sleeping pallets, which are moist, smelly, and full of wriggling, chirping creatures. Whatever. Climb down. Rose is looking at the grass outside, still touched by sunlight. It's a safe place. I can't get rid of these bugs. Dang. Don't I have a bug repellent? I gotta kill these bugs. Following clues from old Pagos, I look for anything that Assyrian could have left behind. A wax tablet. You have to move around all sorts of furniture, light and heavy. Along various pieces of garbage that you have to push aside, you find something unusual in the space between one of the pallets and the wall. An old, molding wax tablet. There are some writing inside. Other than that, the place seems to be empty, unless you count broken pots and ragged clothes. Okay, leave the bronze rod on the roof. That's our third one. Let me check the archive. You climb the ladder and push the trapdoor with the one hand. The planks are thick, and as they fall down with their own weight, they make a loud thud. You find a crack between the two of the bricks and use the rod to widen it a bit. You push it halfway in and fill the gap with linen cloth. You move it a couple times just to be sure it won't detach. You wonder if it's going to lure any lightning. Probably. I can cook some fish on the fire. Yeah, we have a couple. Cook fishes. Get a fire for the next day. Repair my own armor. Wax tablet, which I can't read. Being illiterate, you can't decipher these letters. Remember that Tulas mentioned something about a wax tablet used by Asterion. Maybe someone can read it for you? His journal. Let's repair our armor. You know, I have high experience. Let's sleep here. Sleep on a buggy pallet. The pallet is buggy and far from fresh, but with your cape, it's going to be soft. The thick walls will protect you from the wind and monsters. And it's free. I will be hungry. The shivers wake you up. You open the window and invite the dense fog in, letting the gentle droplets form on your skin. The entire tower is surrounded by darkness. You see no stars, no the ground. As inside and opening, there are no curses carried by the fog. The scratching for the lower floor wakes you up. You get out of the blanket and look down the ladder. The main door shakes, just in case you open the window and glance outside. A pale, muscular fright ape tries to open the entrance with his massive hand, but to no avail. So it hears the screeching of a shutter, it looks at you with its dead black eyes, and grabs one of the bricks and bounces up, shortening the distance quickly. You lock the window with every bolt and bar it has, just in time to keep the shouting monster away. The ape punches the planks fiercely, then climbs up even higher, looking for another entrance. But it's incapable of recognizing the trapdoor, and after a few minutes, you think it gave up. Check it out. Make sure it doesn't have any holes. You open your eyes and there's an unpleasant tingling in your cheek. You reach for what turns out to be a small bug. You throw it away and look around to see dozens of tiny creatures swarming on the floor in your bed, as well as your blanket, clothes, and bags. You push some of them away, gathering your things with thoughts, still clouding of dreams. Bring as many insects, worms, and spiders for them as you can. Ro seems to be frustrated as well, traipsing near the door and snorting, constantly shifting in the position of his head. You walk in outside and allow it to graze on the grass for half an hour. Every time you keep it with your writing set and use the sunlight to double check. Okay, we should get back with some bug killing equipment. I can go back to Edusha, but I don't have anything to say yet. Let's eat a bit. And travel. I can go in the forest. Look for the tracks. But I would like to go to the old bridge. I'm not there. Whatever. We're in decent shape. You go to the heart of the woods and check it out. Ah, it looks like the game was bugged. It thinks I was at the old bridge. Let's check out the old bridge before I go to the heart of the woods. That'll be our last thing we do today. With no trees or crags blocking the sun, the road is bright and inviting. The simple bridge is centuries old, bidden by time. It makes you think of the dolmen you saw south of here. The torrent here is deep and fast, with plenty of fish. The boat is destroyed beyond repair, rotten, falling to pieces with holes in the floor and on the sides, overgrown with fungi and moss. The thick shrubs lining the path are covered with thorns. Small birds are jumping from one twig to another, pecking at the brown berries. You think about picking some of the fruits, but you're not sure they're edible. Take a look at the fish. Dozens of red and grey shells. I can wash. I can look for an hour around. Sure. I feel like an eternity of searching around the boat. the blanks, the shrubs, and you sit down on the bridge to take a break, then realize you haven't actually looked beneath it. You kneel on the grass and look into the darkness. Among the cobwebs and bugs, you spot an old piece of fabric, pinned under a rock. You pull it out and find a rotting, torn pouch that contains a single dragon bone. Make sure you haven't missed the other ones in the dirt, but if they ever existed, they have rolled down and sunk for good. Alright. Let's go for the heart of the woods. I think we're ready for crossing. The path leads downwards through the hills. The forest gets thicker, and the signs of human touch are rare. The lone, large boulder surely draws attention. You can't guess its age, but the path around suggests it has passed plenty of times already. You stop Rose to take a closer look. The remains of red paint are covering the eastern side. The same message as the one you saw on the southern crossroad. Don't enter. Danger ahead. Pray. You look at the blue sky, take a deep breath, and start humming an old tune. You don't remember the words, but they tell the story of Sela, a brave soul from Wright's tablets. Betrayed by his fellow warriors, abandoned in the wilderness, with no weapon to protect himself. Thanks to Wright's inspiration, he realized that lizard's bone, the only thing left from his last meal, could be broken, sharpened, and used as the head of a spear. Thus he managed to defeat a large cat and return to his family. The work is a bit brighter. Look for tracks. The hard hills can't be mistaken, and the travelers didn't amass their steps. They passed the rock from both sides, heading deeper into the forest. Let's go. The stream ahead can be crossed by a humble ford, made of hundreds of rocks that used to reach from the bottom to the surface, but is not partially demolished, either by time or a living creature. For a rider, crossing it won't be much of a problem, but most travelers would have to take off their pants and shoes. Moving an entire wagon will pose quite a challenge. The water is clean, and the banks are low. A good watering spot for Rose. I can make a better path here. I could spend some time moving the larger rocks and throwing them into the water. How long? An hour to cover half the gaps. You let Rose gaze and drink by the stream. You wander along the edge of the dark forest on one side and a colorful meadow on the other, and seek rocks smaller than your head. Carrying them makes you tired quickly. Work some more. I'm exhausted now. Can I eat? Not yet. Unlike the builders from the last days before the 10 cities, you put the last boulder, taming its discover the wilderness, even if slightly. Tightly arranged rocks remind you of a cobbled road leading to Alpelvan. Even a wagon carried by 2 mules could get to the other side without stopping. Observe my work. I gotta eat though. Can I eat? Not yet. The color of leaves range from greens to purple and overwhelms you with shadows. The stems of shrubs are twisted in all directions, seeking the slightest scrap of sunlight. The trees are not too tall, but their trunks are as wide as buildings. The neglected road has been carved into a thicket, an inch at a time, a corridor of plants with a floor made of pebbles that give way to saplings and vines. From time to time you pass by many turns, relics left by roaming dragons, unicorns, and trolls. Some of them are still used by beasts, boars, striped cats, or packs of goblins. The birds are sharing their songs, as cheerful as ever. As we explore the road, we're gonna see it more and more until we know it. You reach a gap in the tunnel of plant. The meadow nourishes a lonely tree, growing in the shadow of the rock, surrounded by humble grass. Near the tree root, a wolf without fur is feasting on a human corpse, unaware of your presence. Can I eat? No. Look around. You see no other creatures. The road in front of you is passable. The birds in the sky seem harmless. Look at the corpse. You don't see much from afar. It's in one piece with blood-soaked clothing torn to pieces, and is indistinguishable from the loose flaps of skin. It has no sacks, bags, or equipment, but you spot a trail of blood leading from the trees. The creature must have dragged the shell from the deeper woods. The beast turns its eyes towards you. Its eyes are shining like charcoal. Leave. The beast spares you a glance but doesn't follow you. I wish I could help, but I'm not ready for such a fight. We'll have to come back later, I guess. Your eyes wander between the wall of the trees and shrubs of one side and the dirty ponds on the other. The road itself is wide, covered with soggy logs that keep the ground from turning into mud. It's breaking under your mouth's hooves, letting out what sounds like a sigh of relief. The water insufferably stinks of carrion and is covered with a blanket of green plants and white flowers that draw countless buzzing insects. Even a horse shouldn't drink from it. Rose starts to get familiar with the unusual pavement and speeds up over to jump over a fallen trunk, blocking your path. Once it lands, it breaks one of the logs in halves. Soon after, you reach a massive black saurian resting on the ground, enjoying the light at the edge of the forest. It seems to be ignoring your presence. Once again, Rose canters. We can't enter the water. We won't run through the forest. I'm not going to fight that thing. Once the monster raises its head, you're already in the air. The beast pushes itself away from the ground with its forelimbs, trying to catch any chunks of flesh with its massive jaws. But you simply hit the ground and return to a trot slowly. I pay attention to the dead tree sticking out of the pond. They look similar to that saurian. We just jumped over it. The road is bright, empty, surrounded by sparsely growing trees, gentle hills, and meadows. These are to a cairn, a pile of rocks ranging in size from your abdomen to your fists. There's also quite a few tiny pebbles. A narrow, hardly passable trail leads south, but likely won't survive another year without travelers. For the tracks? Without a doubt, the travelers were here, led by the person in hard heels, though there are more tracks all around, bolder and younger. First, look for a spot where I can place a rod. You look for snakes in the grass, grab the reins, and climb uphill. Though the sparse flowers and grass is green as a merchant's dress. The few trees you pass by are unhealthy but unremarkable. Are healthy, excuse me. More like shrubs with trunks. You get a nice look from the top of the hill, but even from here you can't see the tips of the trees to the north and west. You're surrounded by the walls and blankets of the greenery. You approach the closest scrubby tree, with thick branches that grow right above the ground. I prefer the rod. You're not that's 4 rods. You're not rows to graze, then step to the low branches, getting up quickly. Your weight against the dry bough, holding the bronze rod with one hand and tying it with the other. No time you land back and climb down. Okay, follow the tracks west, go south. Can I eat? Yes. Let's eat my fishes and my wild plants. With a full belly, I can hope to fight. Follow the tracks west. They soon turn north into an old game trail, wide enough for your mount to enter the thicket. After a few minutes, with little effort, you reach an even wider trail. You get back in the saddle and ride uphill, following a convenient, rocky trail covered in sunlight, cleared of plants. Once you get to the top, you look around. From here you get a good view of the heart of the woods, and spot the smoke coming from the village, far in the distance. The further path ends at a ravine. You look over the edge at a gentle brook far below. The hole is too wide to be crossed with a jump, even for Rose. You narrow your eyes. On the other side is a simple bridge made of logs and ropes, now rolled up and resting with a green shrub. I make a grappling hook out of the rope and the curved bone. Where is it? There it is. Bone hook. What was that? Grappling hooks were introduced to the 10 cities as a curiosity brought by the corsairs during the pillages. The southern tribes used these tools during warfare as they were helpful for breaching walls and other defensive structures. The corsairs have repurposed them, using them to catch the rigging of opposing ships to then board them. Such hosts never became popular across the prowess of the Dragonwoods, but had no use in the defense-oriented army. They were, however, put to good use by the adventurers, who used them to climb trees and rock faces, scavenge through the evidence elements, or get inside a protected building during a break-in. The specific hood is an example of the creativity that comes into play when there is not enough iron to make high-quality tools. Its tree bones are naturally curved, not unlike ribs, and tied together with a couple of steel wires. Like a grappling hook. After the 12th attempt, you get stuck between the stems of the shrub. You put the loop around a conveniently placed rock and put away the unnecessary equipment, including the armor. Once your legs are swimming in the air, dozens of yards above the roaring water, you think about the warm beds and safe alleys of Havlavan. Finally, you touch the other side. Your itching hands are red. I led the wooden bridge and placed it across the gully, did not tie my rope. The trail is canopied by overhanging trees and so narrow that your mount will struggle to turn around. Staying on foot, you grab the lead rope and follow the corridor carved in the lush thicket. You know the scent of rotten leaves. Then after the path widens a bit, this is a shell larger than your own torso. Its 8 legs are as long as you are tall, clinging to a tree that's on the way. You freeze. Dark, hairy thorax matches the browse with plants. Examine the spider from a safe distance. Look. What if I just shoot it? No. Tree. The trees are young and lush, hardly reaching above the undergrowth and canodying the trail. The fallen twigs and barks were pushed off the trail. Spider. It's large enough to hunt for humans. Its 8 legs are as long as you are tall. Look for the thorax. For the head. The size of the fangs never seem to move. Eyes? No. Legs. These are the beast's legs, but they hardly ever move. If anything, all of them tremble at once. Web? There's no web in sight. I'm not sure how the spider managed to cling to the tree. Rope? No. Thing? Thanks? No. Wind? The creature's movement occurs only during the gusts of wind. Puppet? No. Paint? Color? No. Hair? The spider's bristles are pointing towards the ground and hardly ever shake. Crossbow. Attack. Okay. Look. Color. Stick. No. Leaves. Bushes. Spider again. 8 legs are as long as you are tall. The dark, hairy thorax matches the brown of the plants. Plants? You can't just walk squeezed by the spider without drawing its attention. The thicket is pretty much impassable. However, the plants around the trail are pruned, and you'll see hardly any grass. Thicket? No. Head, fangs. The butt. What's behind the thorax? Stomach. Bones. You seek any sign of corpse, cocoons, abandoned bones, but there's nothing of the sort. Pretty sure it's dead. You step slowly, picking up a long branch resting at the side of the trail. Once you tap the abdomen, you let out a sigh of relief. Yeah, you let out a relief sigh. You saw the spider's dried out shell in such a humid place, you'd expect it to rot. The ghost pulls the lead, begging you to turn around. Comforted to go past the spider. The path is beaten, yet your horse has to step over branches, large rocks, and even animal bones. While the trees aren't pruned, they grow sparse enough for you to have a good view of your surrounding. A pile of rotting logs, the remains of food, even a broken wagon rest at the feet of the crag. You look up, the place has a massive gap in it, which now serves as a vantage point for a person you can't clearly see. They're holding an arrow under a strong bow, and while they aren't aiming at you, they have enough time to shoot before you get out of the saddle. You have a horse. The masculine voice sounds lousy, then stares at you. Thought a mad deer was running, I did. Almost shot it in the nose. Who? Leto, the Roadwarden. The archer crouches as if watching you from 2 feet closer were to make a difference. He shouts, but more so towards someone behind the wall. Wait, another Roadwarden? You sure do like your road through the 10 swamps. Head up, but I've got my eyes on you, I do. Hamlet could be a generation old. While the freshly beaten path, spread trash, and newly fallen trees and gathered rocks make it clear that the dwellers are still altering their surroundings, the woods around you are filled with wildfire, crowding in the tree crowns, grasses, and trunks. A boar flees up the path, keeping its eyes on you as it's running. A dragonling is drinking from the pond you just rode by. There are a few people gathered at the gate, and more of them approach you from behind. You count 8 of them in total, with only 1 female face among them. All are younger than 40, with weapons at their sides or on their hands. Simple flails, 2-handed axes on long hafts, maces, spears, throwing clubs. Equipment so heavy and unwieldy that you can't be sure if it's meant to threaten you or to get through the skin of nearby monsters if necessary. Some of those who came through the open gates have bare chests, displaying their scars and bandages, but the others are wearing heavy jackets and looking like nothing like pure farmers seeking shelter from the night. They observe you around with silence, together with the curious rooks sitting on the top of the wall. Dismount smoothly and stand up upright, then giving everyone a threatening glance. Some of the strangers avoid your eyes, while others accept the challenge. One of the men steps closer, offering to help you tie your beast to one of the palisades' loose beam. Another one clears his throat. Leave your blades here, alright? He moves his shoulders, trying to make a more confident stance. Glasha's on their way, as a matter of factly, as if to a regular waiting for an housekeeper. Slowly, you follow his commands, making sure to glance behind you from time to time. From afar, you hear the heavy footfalls of the person who joins you soon after. Her massive winter boots are made of leather that still remembers the cornet dye of the past, and have wide and firm heels. The bronze of the decorative buckles is polished, without a hint of green. Her emerald eyes are running over your mountain equipment, reaching your face last. And with little curiosity, she is broad-shouldered with a muscular figure and round face. Her long, shiny mail rests on a green aketon, making noise with every movement on her arms. Her right hand is tapping the hilt of her sickle sword, a broad blade made for chopping not just flesh, but also twigs. Sheated at her side, the short, dark hair of a fighter is carefully cut, and her skin is healthily tanned. There's another few breaths for you to notice on the other side of her appearance. While she's wider than anyone in sight, she's more than a head shorter than you. You spot the grey strands of her hair, and wrinkles cut by scars on her cheeks and lips. Her hand is missing a thumb, explaining why the blade is on her right side. An old bruise is surrounding her left eye, hinders her from fully opening it, so it is difficult for you to match her gaze. She's performing, try not to smirk. Apart from this time, her confident, powerful voice matches her straight posture. She reaches the bottom of Rose's neck, slowly, allowing you to accept her touch after a moment of hesitation. It's more for running than combat, aye. The Saurian was dangerous, but slow without much stamina. You look for a reason why she should lecture you about your own trade. They notice the curious eyes of the band, listening to every word. You're the first horse they've ever seen. Stranger. She looks at you again and steps back. I've heard about your arrival at the peninsula, but didn't expect to see you at our doorstep. We'll have much to discuss. Tell me you ain't stupid enough to provoke my hand. Don't provoke. I either cut or I don't. But now let's have a talk. Her smile is brief, but marks her voice. We have things to talk about? I'm all ears. Take a stroll with me. I ain't missing a chance to enjoy the rest of my summer. The tension of the group around you isn't as thick, and as you follow the woman north, the others keep at the distance. North, then. The neglected path leads to a pond, to the rock sitting out of the ground, fallen branches and the rotten deck covering a white puddle. There are some signs of repairs made on the bridge for fishers, but there are also broken logs in the boat with a large hole in the hull. Glasha and the two other guards walk with you in silence, surrounded by the screeching beasts around and above you. She takes leisurely strides, and as you step into the bridge, looking across the pond, you can see that the woods surrounding it from all sides, like the walls of a dungeon chamber, with green and grey saurians basking both on the banks and the shallow waters. The frogs, flies, and black birds shatter in any guise of peace. The wood beneath you is slippery. Whenever the woman makes a sudden move, you flinch, preparing your shell to push her away. Don't have any doubts, she speaks calmly, looking in the distance. I have little trust to offer you, and even less patience. It's better that we meet this way instead of down the road. She turns towards you and moves her hand behind her back. But if you have no good reason to talk to me, you can scatter away right away. This land needs no soldiers, roadwardens, or chiefly no city folks. You've been heard. We'll see about that. I'll judge your deeds, not words. Without another word, she leads you back, then through the gate. The old rotting roof is the only building that's starting to bend under its own weight. Its condition is only slightly worse than that of the area around it. The broken tools, soggy planks and logs, the broken fence of an animal pen, and the waist-high nettle leaves growing on every scrap of ground that's not been beaten down by boots. The hamlet smells of putridity. The screeching of animals isn't as overwhelming here, but unlike the other settlements, there's already any labor to fill the emptiness. The bandits either follow you or sit around idly. There's firewood gathered by the wall, and you see someone eating a piece of cold, roasted meat. But it seems that no one is eager to grab a hammer, a needle, or a carving knife. Glasha doesn't stop, making you follow her around the long shelter. She keeps her eyes straight ahead, not commenting on anything you walk by. With every step, her mail jangles slightly, breaking the silence. I've heard in Galrox the villagers are waiting for some spice merchants. She doesn't say a thing, waiting for you to go on. Do anything about it? She shrugs. Nothing you need to hear. Uh-huh. I found that abandoned cart. She keeps her pace, forcing you to stare at her hair, then steps outside. You drop this arrow here. She freezes and turns around too quickly for you to notice how it ends up in her hand. Her fingers are aching for your fingers are aching for the next few minutes. Cheers for returning it to me. She scowls at you and throws the arrow at one of the guards. I ain't going to explain myself to you. We needed tools and wares to sell, so we took them. The merchants are back in their homes, with their skins untouched and togs in their backs. They took the risk and took it. You flinch when she reaches for your shoulder, but you flinch when she reaches for your shoulder, but someone is already behind you, keeping you in range. Her strong hand squeezes your flesh. Do we have a problem here? Withstand her gaze. She looks away after a few long breaths, then frowns, her healthy eyes showing surprise before glancing back at you. We said what we needed to do. What else do you want? What else do you have for me? She heads for the gate. Her steps are heavier than usual. You may want to stay away from old Pagos. Has been a plague. She glances at you with her unmarked eyebrows raised, marking the difference between the size of her eyes more jarring. I don't know what's happened in my land. I don't need your rumors. Okay. Can you know the ruins in the southern roads? A lot, but there ain't anything you can do about them. Know anything about the Styrian? Just spare you a glance. So? Can you help me? Why would I? I need nothing that you could fit in your saddles. Do me a few favors and we'll see. Okay, so what do you want me to do? Jumps in her place, then gestures at the soggy bench. Both of you sit down, but your eyes don't meet. Instead, you observe the dark birds that are pushing and pecking at each other over old gruel spread among the lintel. What the Roadwarden want to help me? To be rewarded? She gives you a puzzled look, then nods. So I've met two from your trade this year, and both of them are mercenaries. With a mount? I expect as much from city folks. But I have a few things to offer you. She leans back and looks at the clouds. One of my lads has abandoned his post and has taken something very, very valuable to me. He wants to start a new life anew, so he won't use his name. But you'll recognize him. Speaks like someone from my village, he does. While her tone is sarcastic, her eyes remain serious. Young, strong, with a pretty face and blue eyes of a beaten cub. He shaves often. The last dog he had on his back was our black Gibson, matching his short hair. Svi? But if he has any wit, he sold it somewhere already. No, he's from the south. When she crouches on the one leg or the other, her mail clinks so loudly it makes you flinch. She reaches for her boots, adjusting it with her broad finger. He doesn't want to be found, but he may need a Roadwarden's help. If so, maybe tell me where he hides, and I will fight him, alright? I'll drop a few coins for your trouble. 4, maybe? Maybe I can give you arrows for your crossbow. You don't really need them. Any tips where I can start? Meh. Okay, where can I find him? Dead already. What did he take from you? Black powder. What did he leave you? Just about it for a few harbies. He is weak. He joined us not that long ago. He didn't have any drive. Was merely bored with. Let me see about the conversation I was kind of skipping over. I'm gonna stop soon, but. No idea where to find him. Black powder. At the drive, he was merely bored with his old life, but was good enough with knives to impress me. Turns out he wasn't ready for the change he took upon himself. I'll tell you what I can. How about the High Island? This again, there's some lair of Roadwardens. Response is as quick as a whip. Don't waste my time. If you want me to help you find a Styrian, be useful. Why do you target White Marshes? Why don't you? She turns her head, giving you an another glance. What good's a Roadwarden if there are armies of awoken shells right under their nose? You want to set the situation better so I can do something about it. The brow of her healthy eyes frow in her front. Are you that blind? The necromancers in our land. What else is there to tell? These spells have been forbidden since the days before the 10 cities, and the way these elements are looking away. Their laziness. Her tone is full of disgust. The separation from all them rights written on our soul by the right. Lest the beasts devour the lashes of what we as humans deserve. She ambles forward without looking at you. I've nothing to gain from telling you some stories. Fight for what's right or fall with all the others. You made Jason worried about your recent moves. She slows down. The two of you approach the old animal pen, though right now it's inhabited only by rooks and worms. She leans against the soggy fence which moans in protest. Her emerald eyes don't hide her surprise. I suppose I should have expected Jason Boar's eyes on me. What does he want you to get from me exactly? I don't want you to achieve. Are you planning to attack his hunters? It takes her unusually long to answer. Alright, tell him this. Don't sweat. The right blade leads my blade and dreams against the agreements of White Marsh. Also bed with an ibex. You speak with Yason as if you work together, but you didn't agree to let your band move into Belt, am I wrong? Oh, that old quarrel? She blinks a few times with her wounded eyelid, moving noticeably slower. I offered them to join our forces some years back, but I almost forgot about it. Seeing your surprised look, she scoffs and confidently moves forward, increasing the pace. In your place, I consider where you put your trust, stranger. Can I learn more about you? No. Foggy mentioned some dark days push you to becoming a bandit. More of them than you can count. Why do you think people leave their warm homes to pick easy coins? We're survivors from the long-gone village of Steep House. A lad forced into marriage by some old pricks with long beards, a cooper whose daughter poisoned herself with a daffodil pie, a hunter whose home was lost to a fire, a shepherd who took an oath to clean these woods of wolves, a hungry thief who chose to run away instead of losing their arm. The guards are more numerous. Some of them look down, casting you shameful glances, while others meet your eyes, keeping their backs straight. We're all wronged by this land. Glyssa carries on as if her steps growing springly. Her mail becomes unknowingly loud. Now our work will give us our pride back. Anything about the undead? Our armors cling so loudly that a nearby rook flutters its wing. They're around. What do you ask? They can be dealt with, of course. She stares at you and nods vigorously and turns away. You got a clear eye. There are some undead in the darkest, thickest of caves, but they ain't nothing more than a gentle rash on the shell filled with poison. White marshes with their dark arts and crazy warlocks are the real danger, and part of our work is taking any bones we can away from them. You ask her if she'd say something more, and she slows down. They ain't merely using their own dead outsider. They seek shells in the woods. They scavenge from them. Shame on the villages that let them do so. The right drowns them all. You met Cassia from Gale Rocks? An angry look towards... She says an angry look towards a surprised rook. They go for nothing? Why, she offered you a job? You mentioned that you just tried to learn more about her character. She walks in silence for a good minute. Let's merely say I'm not convinced she's capable of keeping her word, even though she promises a lot, and loudly so. The trapdoor on the dolmen. I considered telling her about the secret trapdoor from the dolmen. We wander behind her, under the keen eyes of the other members. Here then another hideout could save their lives during difficult journeys, but they could just as well use it to practice their trade, so to speak. I'll tell her everything, and your trust is worth it. It doesn't interrupt you, nor slow down with pace. After you're done, she says without a hint of emotion, but you notice the unnatural pause. Of course, she tries to maintain composure, but if you're trying to impress me, you need to try harder. Tell me about yourself. She stops and rubs her large nettle leaf between their fingers. There ain't much to say. There ain't much stories in me to share. As a young lass, I was taught to sue for food. I placed our family with a kind cobbler. Her voice weakens, and she looks down at her boots. I had to leave my family, and I accepted it. On my way to the wedding, them awoken shells took my closest friends, my face and the hand that I worked with, and I accepted it. The right gave me no kids, and I accepted it. She then runs their eyes over the nearby guards. After them monsters hit my home and accepted everything I had built and loved, I would not accept it. With or without the right, I would make those butchers pay. A wounded eye, far from being free of the pain as it seems, looks at you with determination. I've been here for 10 years now, and I'll be here as long as it takes, by myself if I must. I'm surprised your band didn't get mauled to death yet. She looks at the man who's missing an eye. We've been marked in many ways, and we've burnt our share of shells. Not all of us were here from the beginning, you see. You ask her for any tips on how to survive on the road, she shrugs. Not for a rider, I don't. When we move in strong groups, smaller monsters stay away, and you can't fight the packs numerous enough to attack us. We're pausing long enough that you consider changing the topic, but then she carries on. What you need to learn is that there ain't anything free in the woods. A lost bone, rotten apple, shiny pebble, a cave. Everything will be eaten or taken away. If it's laying there by itself, you better wonder why. We're just going to secure these roads. She gives away a small rock, one of the many you step upon. The roads are fine as they are. You ask her for any thoughts on how people see them as dangerous, too much to maintain any trade, but she chuckles her response. So they will do better by never leaving their homes. What are you even robbing? Well, it's in our past, stranger. Yes, we took a few things from the settlements, or forced some merchants to pay us for escorting them. We ain't some bloodthirsty robbers. We cut our own firewoods, hunt to fill our berries, trade if we need to. You'd be surprised. I don't know, everybody here seems kind of lazy about tasks. Little work one needs when you have strong arms and no taxes and no young or old mouth to feed. Ah, so she won't be good for the Hovlevan. You can see the massive hole in the southern part of the wall. Her lips get tightened as she turns away. We won't stay in this place much longer. You're lucky that the soldiers from Olavan took care of the soul band dwelling in the Hag Hills. She walks without a word for a few good heartbeats. 3 Wooks are searching for food in the grass, or ignoring her heavy steps in mail, yet toddling away once you approach them. I had different opinions on the range of the territory. She looks at her guards with pride. They didn't have muscle to become a threat, but were careless and had no purpose, merely hunger. We were long before them. They were gone, but we remain. Such is right's will for us. Before she resumes her stroll, she meets your eyes and nods slowly. Right, we're lucky. Say hi to Tulia from me. I'll see her soon. You were there when Step House fell, weren't you? She stops and turns around. When she places her hands on her side, the mail clinks. I saw it all right. Thais' threats, the torches and bows of her people, the druids in clean robes with curses on their tongues. I had the others add logs to our broken walls, but when the herds got in through the breach, all I could do was run, so I did. She closed her eyes, but her wounded hand instantly moves to the scabbard of her blade, just in case. I remember 2 young men, no, boys, fighting each other by the flame of the house, and a head hitting a tree. My husband screaming from pain in our bed, poisoned by the well, not knowing we would never fall asleep, nor wake up. And a werebear grasping my friend and tearing their shell in half. And the others carry it all. Her absent eyes glance at one of her guards, a man with a face lit by fire. Never forget. So Haller's Dell was behind all this? The Tribes have hidden this little secret of ours quite well, I see. She glances at you with a sad smirk. Like you said 10 years ago, she offered every settlement to enter a covenant with her people. Taxes for her guards. We as Step House refused, and she decided to start a raid like a bandit. Her voice swings from sadness to a bit of amusement. We surrendered, we did, but she wanted bloodshed, and she got it. Our people torched our houses, cut out the forest garden, and ended lives. We tried to recover. Many said that we should bow to her if she meant we could keep our homes, but nature was merciless. The beast attacks us soon after. She falls quiet, puts her left boot on the nearby log, adjusting its buckles, and that's it. Steep House was no more, killed by 2 different monsters. Why are the people of Howlers willing to go so far? They would say that we were asking for it. I spent not even 15 years at Steep House, but I saw my share of quarrels between the 2 villages. Did you know that they were both the same tribe? It's true. She even emphasizes even though her eyes are focused on the roaming rooks. She must have told this story many times already. Howlers started a fishing hamlet at the stream bank and spread into a new village. In a few generations, Steep House grew strong enough to prosper without Howlers' help. Started to cut ties. Pretty much paid taxes, you see, and got little in return, chiefly since we were placed close to the Hills Pass. Many traders turned around soon after they entered our gates. My neighbors had riches, alright, good food and pretty homes. We respected their lands, woods, and stream. The only greed we faced was that brought us with violence. Okay. Are you involved with Assyrian's disappearance? And who are those some? People who talk about Assyrian's disappearance. I just smile. Whatever, let's get out of here. You're asking for a spot where I can spend the night. I'm not gonna spend the night here. Go back. Having discovered the truth, you could force the people of Howler's Dell to confront their past. But they may not be taking kindly to your threats and requests. The more you learn about their deeds and conflicts, the more tools you have to use against them. Maybe they can pay me off? Look at the cairn. It's wider than the 2 people standing side by side and taller than rows. The grass surrounding it surrounds it tightly. It must be years old, but it could be just as well older than any village in the north. You find rocks in many colors, including green, red, cream, white, black, and blue, and many dotted or mixed ones. While the cairn stays firmly beneath your touch, it would easily be shattered if it was. While the cairn stays firmly beneath your touch, it would be easy to shatter it with a pickaxe or swipe a single swipe of a dragon. There's also this piece of old chicken bones pressed among the rocks. No coins. I can take the path south, but I'm not afraid of time. Ride. West to the gate. Let's go. Every minute or so, you get lost in the dense woods. When possible, you must stick to the remains of the beaten path, clearing the overgrown thicket that blocks your way. But it would take many more travelers to sustain such a trail. The land around you may lack greens, but it's far from empty. The fallen boss and dead stumps are slowly devoured by ants and mushrooms, a web-like labyrinth of wooden walls, while the white termite, larger than your hands, continue the never-ending march. Your guards notice your presence, but simply form a warning line in front of their workers. The trees are taller than the temple of the cities, with trunks resembling the legs of giants. An ancient forest. The shadows they cast are like a carpet. The few beams of light nourish the sparse bushes and ferns. Only plants that aren't choked by rotting late summer leaves, shaped like toothed squares, as large as your face. I can see what Howler's Dell wiping out another village, why the other village is kind of closed off from them. If I'm more familiar with this part of the forest, I may be able to find a smoother path. We're almost there. The forest gives way to rocks and green hills, but among the tall trees are numerous monkeys. Sitting in small groups, loud, yet shorter than half your size. They distort the green leaves with red, brown, and white and blue fur. As you approach the territory, their excitement grows. They climb up and down the trunks, sway on the vines, jump between the branches, or hang down, putting to use their long tails. They throw at you countless angry glances and grunts, but also cones, branches, and chestnuts. A piece of fresh feces lands close to Rose, but the pack's aim is rather miserable. Use our shield. Made us dirty, but we're already super sweaty. You ride through the avalanche of missiles, and while the eyes and foreheads of both you and your palfrey are covered, you both experience some painful hits as you move forward. Thankfully, the monkeys don't chase you for long, and after maybe a minute, it's at the edge of the holes, only yelling at you. I take a deep breath and think to myself I should clean my shield after I pass any streams. The air in these bright, arid hills is much drier than these woods. Down below among the humble meadows, you spot a stone plateau, on top of which a group of bipedal creatures is feasting on a large carcass. From what you can see, only a few of them would reach your knees. As the pack notices your gaze, it starts to regroup. Nah, let's be on our way. We're in a hurry. Go, 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 go. The gate! There's fresh blood on the road, but the trail leads into the deep bushes. Quintus is leaning on the parapet looking around. He knocks to you, climbs down and opens the gate from the other side. Warden, thanks for talking with Dali. She brought me some supplies for my tusk and claws. Things could look better, but you know. Okay. How long before I travel to some place to rest? I'm gonna have to go to Howler's Dell. With their bad prices. Nowhere else will give me shelter. It's 45 minutes away. You know Yudusha, the Enchantress? I was wondering if you could place this in your tower for her. You run back and show him the rod. Lighter than it looks, he says quietly. But I know Yudusha. She always does odd, weird... She was a quiet kid, but a smart one. Never tried to steal my milk. He hands it back to you and puts on a pleasant smirk. But I'm not doing all for free. Give me 4 rations. Tasty ones. My people won't be happy that I'm doing favors for a dissenter. I don't mean you. Okay. I can fix with Gambus in about an hour. You serious? He leans forward, looking you in the eyes, then make a confident nod. Let's get to it. Quinta turns out to know a thing or two about jackets and sewing. He gives you a few words of advice, turns his backup shirt into a padding, and holds his jacket in ways that allow you to work in peace. When he puts on his restored armor, he lets out a strong laugh. Great, great, but what am I to give you now? He looks around. Want an arrow for your crossbow? Not easy to get. Sure. 5! Not a big loss for me, I can't hit shit anyway. Have you ever heard about the High Island? Alright. You can see this volcano from Old Pagos. The monks say it's a weird place, but also a tale for the worthy. See if he knows the tale and he gets in the direction of his home. Nah. Why are you afraid of Glacia? Warden, I can't talk about her. I've got to look after the gate for her, or she'll hurt someone. Important to me. If she knows I'm telling her stories about her, I'm dead too. Some time ago, people from the creeks left their home to hunt. Have you met them? I've not about people, but I met Vashel. It takes him a few breaths to notice you're waiting for him to go on. They spent one night at the tower with me. Came from there, he points at the woods in the east. And back there, they were building a trap somewhere behind the lake. Good soul, very open-eyed. They might have died. Shit. About your duty. Jason, I will allow you to set the inn. He'll even pay after you help the hunters with one of their more vicious trips. He crosses his arms, this hesitance. Won't be more risky than this place, and I'd finally have time to rest a bit. But what before that? I want to live on oats and rags. I want to live on oats and waters and rags. I'm not gonna pay him. Ugh, no, I'm not paying him. Heck no. Can I go to Old Pagos? Takes an hour. Probably not. Let's go to Hallersdale straight away. Ah, I'm not paying you. Okay, we have some time. I want to place a bronze, but I need to first ask the mayor for permission. The druids won't like you to see me. I can repair my armor. Before night falls, let me go and meet with the matchmaking. I thought about powers from Gale Rocks. Sounds like a worker, but make sure you now oppose the marriage rites. His bitch follows the right. I need his words that he'll leave his spirits behind him, if he agrees. We're teeth yellowish, but healthy. He can come in fall. We'll see how we get along. Alright. The tailor... I've got some spider silk. Or can I enhance my clothing? For 20 bucks, or the spider silk. Enhance my gambeson. You sure the wrapped steak in? Without asking, she takes one of the shorter threads and starts to stretch it. I do. What do you want? The dragon rings or a better jacket? You ask her for details, and she loses more of the patience. 10 rings for the threads, or give me 2 hours and now, and I'll put in some in here for the gambeson. Give me money. I'm here for money. Money. Ah, and now she trusts me enough to talk about Erastos. She was on the bench, using the table to stand up, then hops away on her only leg and enters the house for about a quarter of an hour. You hear her jumps, the voice of another woman, and even pushed furniture. When she gets back, her face is red and sweaty. She sits down on her spot and puts the loose coins on the table. Found them, she mutters. You can put them in your pouch. She returns to her previous work. Is Erastos trustworthy? A long pause. I guess you deserve a brief answer. You're a good client. She looks at your forehead. You'd be better at carving toys, not box traps. It is what it is. It's getting dark and the inn is loud and crowded. The innkeeper lights up the rush lights. The workers drink, and the guards are preparing for the night watch. If it wasn't for the presence of the creeks and the uncanny lack of beggars, this place would feel like Hovlevan's marketplace. One of the tables is occupied by dozens or so kids. None of them look older than 12, and the youngest one, too dirty to resemble either a boy or a girl, is about 6. They're surrounded by their playthings, a mouflon on wheels, an elegant wooden sword, a painted board covered with rocks, but they're bored and tired. Even though you only get a glimpse of them, then the oldest girl notices your attention. She springs up to her feet and approaches you with a few skips. She's already pretty tall, dressed in a worn, subdued tunic, so long it looks like a sack. Yes? She puts her hands together and puts on a grimace for a playful misery. Master Roadwarden! Hearing such an antiquated salutation makes it difficult for you to hide your smirk. We here... She points to the group. Bored! Oh, so bored! She puts her back on her hand on her forehead, letting out a deep sigh. Please, master, tell us a story or two, for each traveler sees with different eyes. The last words sound like an echo of an old tale. Sure. Make room for me. The children gather around and ask you for siblings. The children gather around and ask you for the dog who wants to go out. Go, doggy, go. Okay, the doggy left. The children gather around and ask you for a minute for them to gather their friends and siblings. After a moment of the chaos, there's 20 young souls, sitting closely to one another on benches, stools, and on the ground. The red-haired twins brought a blanket to lay down. You have a shorter side of the table all to yourself. The older kids understand you look lost. Your lost look for an instant. They start to hush each other, which causes even greater amount of noise, but in the end, there are dozens of eyes staring at you with a mixture of boredom and anticipations. Tell them about one of my adventures, but spice it up with a little lie. The story takes quite a bit of time, and at one point gets a bit cruel. The youngest kid covers their eyes, which doesn't block their hearing in any way. As you get to the end, the tension disappears. The older kid claps for a bit, keeping the dignity intact, while the younger ones start to laugh and argue loudly about the best part of your tale. For some reason, 2 of the girls start to wrestle, pretending to be 2 of the characters that you just portrayed. See as the adult decide to intervene. You stand up and the children do the same to show their respect. The girl that previously talked to you thanks you for your time. My pleasure. Okay. Let me repair my... It's nighttime anyway, so let me repair my armor. Boop. I'm not an expert at fixing my armor. Can I look for the mayor at night? The guard informs you that the mayor is currently busy, but he'll mention to her that you're waiting. Sit down on the bench and wait for a bit. When Thais joins you, she apologizes for the wait. Welcome back to your village, Leto. Want they see me? I can ask her to read, I guess. Can you read me this tablet? Dirty. She raises her open palm. You open the tablet yourself and push it towards her. Have a bit of nonsense. Some letter, numbers, a picture of a boat, I think, one of a volcano. It's growing about the size of a canoe. Stops the date. And then, oh, here's the name, Navika. She sees your look and shakes her head gently. I don't know her. Why are you so interested in this tablet anyway? Who's the owner? It may have belonged to Asterion. First you think she nods to confirm she heard you. Then you realize she's gesturing to make you take the tablet away. I see. So it's not really my problem. She's the way to look at Eric's. Can you wipe this? She points at the table and soon after he shows her with a wet cloth. What about the other tablet? The troll bone tablet. Pretty! She taps on the carving on the back. You sure you don't want to leave it with Akakis for a few bones? She glances at the letter, then puts it in the tablet on the table. It's just some farewell letter, written to Valence. I think I've written down that name. Valence. His husband says he couldn't stand this nightmarish village and that he met with someone else during this hunting trip. It ends with, we will start a new family, goodbye, no signature. Also, there's a plague in Old Pagos. For a few breaths, she doesn't even blink. So close to us? A plague? How? She adjusts her cape and calls a guard with a gesture. Tell the others to be gathered by Ape L, she tells her. Then looks back into their eyes. I'll pass them the news once we're done here. We'll have to close the gates. Maybe keep the strangers away. She starts to tap on the deal buckle. Maybe we can make some preparations thanks to you. Good wardening, she says with a little conviction. We should also speak with our druids. They may have more questions for you. The guard returns and the mayor sends her away again. Warn Elpis. She must speak with Leto soon. Do you know Yudusha, the enchantress? Well, I have to hang this rod. You let her wait a rod in it. It's empty. What is it for? Lie. She clasps her hand around her knee. Since when does she pay attention to the skies? You want me to believe she's looking after crops? She tilts her head to the left and pursues her lips. Even if such knowledge could have issues, I'm far from trusting her. She'll also be worried. She spends a few long breaths in silence, rolling the piece of bronze on the table. My neighbors have some kind words to say about you, but they won't oppose a piece of bronze. You have my permission to put it on whichever tower you want. Yay! She leans forward, even though she smiles. Her voice is close to a whisper. I wonder, why are you here? What pushes someone to become a Roadwarden? I need coin to help someone I care about. Quite a burden. Many would turn to thievery, or plots, or blood magic. Your pursuit is respectable. She chances up with an encouraging smile. How fun is suffocating. All the churches, traders, soldiers, and crafters, and craft guilds won't become a stranger in needs. Still, better it is than being an adventurer. I bring news about Glosha's band. The only place bothered by the raids is White Marshes. The people of Gale Rocks and Crease face no issue. She exhales and raises an open palm. There's no reason to worry. The people of White Marshes are no friends of ours, and if Glosha is eager to bother them, the poor settlement in the north, especially one filled with Awoken, it must be personal for her. With no reason to stand in the middle of it. She straightens up and adjusts her cape, and stares below your eyes. Her voice is solemn. As the mayor of Howlersdale, I appreciate your concern, but I don't share your apprehension. The guards of our village will stand on our walls. Be sure to come see us soon. We'll gladly share a lamb and tail with you. I'll pass it on. $2. Anything you need? You usually don't avoid hard conversations, do you? Most city folks will feel hesitant when they meet pagans. She smirks, but the hand clenched around her deer buckle makes you alert. Are you that open to strangers, or did the United Church loosen its grasp? I'm interested in who could take their place. The guilds and artisans? The army? I mean, with all the necromancy we've seen, I don't enjoy my time with the pagans. Her eyes shift from keen to angry. At a moment, she relaxes her shoulders, but also crosses her arms. Are we done here? I have news from the other parts of the peninsula. Which things to the guild, but no, don't tell her. The forest garden at the edge of the bog is now mostly abandoned. I see, but that place is so far away from here, we can't properly guard it. What about a hamlet? Location of the bandits' hideout. After your brief explanation, she chips in and snaps her finger at a few times. Ah, the lumberjack hamlet. Used to belong to Gale Rocks. Now if Glossa camps start causing trouble, and we'll know where to strike. Jason is looking to purchase Foggy Lake. That's far from ideal. Allowing 2 inns to be controlled by a single soul may cause trouble for the third one. She points at Ape Hill, which are in this case, the third one is the one that really matters. The people of the creeks have faced many struggles. Your task takes quite a few minutes. Not only does Thais have many questions, she finally asks Eric to bring her a wax tablet, where she starts making notes. Once you're done, she lets out a relief sigh and speaks more to herself than you. If it just so happens that the tribe you will need my help, I'll be prepared to answer their call. Alright, let's not tell her about the copper vein. Can you give us a moment? Yes, you found a muscular, crudely dressed woman through the table, asking Thais for directions. Something about moist logs and breaking boards. You stop paying attention quickly instead of wonder why the mayor insists on holding these meetings outside. It's theater. Great job, she says of the workers and with an encouraging smile. Though when her eyes meet yours, he sits with a challenging smirk. Back to Erastus. This time her gaze is much harsher. This again? Why not just let this go? To explain the situation, she scratches the table by accident. Let's just say I won't oppose him leaving our village, but I have no warm words to say about him. You have any work for me? She says with relief, and gestures for you to follow her to the creek. The light dances on the surface, and you can't miss the fact that its humming conveniently camouflages the mayor's voice. I have a perfect task for someone of your trade. Behind our northern gate, you'll find a road. It leads to a coastal beach that used to be occupied by our fishers. Hit by a cold gust of wind, she adjusts her cape, covering her neck. That hamlet allows her to quash the sea, and every 10 days we had as many fish and crabs as we desired, without the grace of the villages in the north. She looks into your eyes. However, an earthquake led to a rock slide and has made the road impassable. We weren't ready to clear it, and now, almost a decade later, the route is too unknown for us to risk the journey. She raises her arms, trying to place them around your shoulders. An hour. Her general ends its sliced leaf. The druids have convinced my people to accept the way it is, the will of the wilderness. She smells of roses. But enough time has passed. The road grows desolate, and we need to put our trust in ourselves. Let me clear the path, and my neighbors will follow us. If not because of the ideals, then because of their stomachs. As she steps away, her fingers stroke your neck gently. The more time we spend on the road, the more monsters will hunt us. We are power-free, we can save us from danger. Help me retrieve the hamlet, and you'll prove to me that you're a friend of Howlersdale. By riding you through the buried past, see if there's any layers there. Asking for a lot. That would be quiet, of course. 5 for helping us clear the passage, 5 for letting me know what you've learned about the hamlet. Good tree if you have more fight in any of these places. For a day or two of work, that's more than fair. Well, it just so happens I've already been here. She rests her chin on the back of her hand and listens patiently to your story, and taps on the table one that you mentioned the buried rags. None of us were there on the day of the earthquake, but whatever corpse may be there, they've surely been awoken by the fogs now. She faces up. It's still better than a wyvern or a layer of harpies. The plan stays the same. You'll take 20 diggers and guards and escort them to the rock slide. Your job is to keep them alive and well. She looks at the sky. It may take many hours, maybe even an entire day, so you should start in the morning. You'll get the first share of your payment once you clear the pass. Okay, so we'll do this tomorrow. Both in the game and in real life. Let's get out of here. Innkeep. I'm looking for a few hunters. Recognize those names, but I've seen no folks from Creeks in a long time. Any old-time sailors around? I have to ask them a few questions. All our sailors are old-time sailors. No soul has seen a ship in years. He starts with a chuckle, but then also there's an elderly man who's resting by the table. Try him. Okay. Just notice your approach until you sit down opposite of him. He raises his chin. One of his eyes is brown, while the other is white from blindness. Having only one ear, a broken nose, and a constantly open mouth, he looks like a soul at the end of a painful journey, but his voice is more amused than tired. And who fell here on my very own plate? You're the kid of... He pauses, leaning forward. Nah, I've never seen you before. You come to buy me a strong mug? You need a few breaths to get to his thick accent. Additionally, distorted lack of teeth. I'm not gonna pay for your mug. They should give you a beer. Maybe they do. You find it difficult to tell if you see a smile or a grimace of pain. But after all my years of hard work, all it took was one accident to lump me together with the crippled and the idle. I even apologize for the burned barrels. Somehow, no matter what our mayor does, she never faces consequences. He purses his lips, kicks his tongue, and tries to straighten up. Can you tell me about High Island? He wipes his drooling mouth with his sleeve. His clothes are simple, but clean and tidy. Do you not know? This is not allowed to land there. A dangerous place. And a hurtful memory. Why hurtful? Long before any of us were born, it was a home to an old tribe. One who lived close to the lands and spirits, but was chased and trapped like a hunted boar. And through no fault of their own, they were strong but alone. Cross up the emperors and undead brigands. Tilts his head and narrowing his living eye. You know what? You sound like a city folk. I'm from Halavan, but through no fault of my own. What a decent heart you have. His weak wheeze carries a hint of amusement. After all these days I spent meeting souls from the farthest part of the land, I'm not one to judge one for where they come from. Different things if you were to tie to that place. Then agreed. Is Havlavan tied to all of this? Have you not heard of the tribe of the Green Mountain? One as strong as our very own Howlers. Got squashed by the city corsairs, pushed all the way to the distant east. Someone younger surely knows the way. Looks around as if the ancient pagan village could be hiding just behind the corner. But you will not be let in without a fine gift. Sometimes they lack, no wonder, a sharp blade or bags of spices. This is an angry look from the innkeep. Aye, do not talk about the Green Mountain. In his screech, you recognize Ty's discipline. I do not care. I need to get on the island, it's important. You really have no better thing to do? No lovers to bed with, no bread to smell, no meat to drink? Puts his arm on the table, then his cheek on top of it. Start with this. Reach the island after dusk, from the east. You will not miss it. The volcano has been smoking for decades now, and many say it hides the treasures of their whole tribes. The island's wells are so tall you cannot climb them, but with a night's high tide you can reach an old port, hidden behind the waterfall. Through all this, he pauses and wipes his wrinkled lips, or just pay for a ship in the city. The Stas fortresses, that's all you need. Have you ever been there? Raises his head though just enough to peek into his empty mug. I cannot recall much. We're desperate, hungry and hurt, and did what we could to survive. That night was a nightmare, and I only ever woke up. And only I ever woke up. Okay then. I guess we sleep here. I'm not gonna pay. We don't need to rest. It's expensive anyway. Sleeping on my mouflage spell. There's a lot of noise outside that you can sense a heavy, unpleasant smell coming from the cauldron. Maybe the furs is fluffy, and you can cover yourself with your blanket. We're in the labyrinth of alleys and steep house, with shifts after every step. You wander by the blooming gardens, burning houses, laughing newlyweds, cut off limbs, fresh hair pies, chewed bones, cars loaded with barrels and falling trees. You're sitting at a table in front of the Ale Inn, surrounded by the laughing skeletons. Tice, naked and covered in blood and ashes, holds your hands, forcing you to stuff your mouth with raw meat from a bottomless bowl. Every bite tasting like the metal of an old key burns your mouth, but you can't scream. The unyielding grasp brings pain and delight in equal measure, and you wouldn't dare to try to escape it. The smoke coming from your roasting flesh starts to fill your eyes, but they have no tears to spare. You wake up and reach for a water skin so you can arrange the ash from your hands. There's a few hard beats before you realize where you are. Only seen one side of the story. I'm sure the people of Howlers felt they were justified. Because I want them to pay me money. We're not spitting out their secrets. Gathering a crew. According to what you've learned, you can only reach High Island with a boat, leaving the coast during the day and landing at nighttime during high tide. A chance that you're going to find him there on your own is slim. I need a boat, some friends. I have to go to the druids. Yeah, okay, we have some work to do tomorrow. But that'll be tomorrow. Okay.